Hey everybody, welcome to Fire. In this show, we're gonna shake things up. We're gonna question everything and redefine what it means to be a man in today's world. This is not just bros with mics. Here, you're actually gonna be surprised by what you're gonna hear. I'm gonna tell you. You guys ready to light this up?
Yes, sir.
You ready? You ready?
Ready.
To my right is Jones.
What's going on, guys? I am Mr. Jones X. You can find me on TikTok as Mr. Jones X, Instagram, also YouTube. My platform started out talking about breaking down the patriarchy, breaking down capitalism, deconstructing from Christianity and things of that nature. And then I fell into politics almost as a need. And hopefully once this political cycle is over, I'll be right back to talking about the things that I actually care about. So yeah, I mean, my platform is more of a mixed bag. I spend most of my time, trying to show people that there's a more evolved way for us to exist in this society. And right across the table from me, I got my man Pub.
What up? Yeah, man. My name is a public offender on TikTok and YouTube and X and all the platforms. I basically kind of have a funny thing because Jones started off doing that. He started off doing like, talking about, I don't know, misogyny and anti-misogyny and deconstructing the patriarchy. And I started off talking about like real far left-leaning politics. And now I basically just talk about deconstructing misogyny and the patriarchy because it's important and it's the thing that affects me the most on a day-to-day. Right. Like it's the thing that I can like directly benefit from every day. And the other stuff feels like it's more of a long-term investment. So I'm really interested in it, and I got sons and stuff like that. So I felt like it was a need and very necessary for me to do it now, even though I'm like old and washed up. But yeah, here we are, man. Hey, to my right, man, we got Brett over here. Dad's got bars. What's good with it, man?
Hey, what's up? I'm Dad Got Bars. You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. I'm a rapping dad. I'm a dad that likes to rap about being a dad and being a family man, raising a daughter. And I kind of align with all you guys too in that regard of like, I realize that I'm talking a lot about anti-misogyny and deconstructing gender norms, and just trying to be a modern man in today's world, and not really care too much about traditional men and women kind of roles. And so some people like it, some people don't, but it's been a lot of it's a cool journey. And what I found is I thought I was gonna have this like massive impact on men, and I thought I was gonna be able to talk to them. And what I'm realizing is I'm actually like healing a lot of women just by being me, which is strange but also cool. So
Very odd.
Yeah, right.
Really weird.
But Zay Zay,
Yeah.
let's get into it. Let's light it up.
We got to.
love it.
I am Zay Zay. Zay Zay Com anywhere you consume just about anything, right? I've been a lot of places, talked to a lot of people, and I cannot wait to get into these conversations over the course of this time. So you guys ready?
Yeah,
Yes.
so absolutely.
All
So
right.
here's the thing, right? Like we're about to be asked a bunch of questions,
Yeah.
and none of us know what the questions are.
Right.
So
Right.
We didn't get to do our homework.
Right. So
Hopefully we're up to
Zay,
it.
who submitted these questions?
I'm going to tell you right now. We
All right.
surveyed a bunch of people who chose the bear. As we spoke about earlier. And then they had a bunch of questions for us after choosing the bear, right? So, some of these questions can get a little hot.
Right.
But some of these questions I think we may have similar views on. But there is, as we all have discussed before, there might be some nuances where we might differ.
Right.
But there may also be some nuances that we might be the same on, but complete different answers.
Right.
That
Yeah.
we may not share the same views on.
Yep.
But we're not gonna know until we actually get into it.
Let's find out.
Right? So let's start off with question number 1. What does emotional vulnerability mean to you? And how do you handle it? Let's start off with Jones.
There you go.
Listen, I'm terrible. I'm not even gonna fucking lie. I'm terrible at this shit. I really am.
Really?
I really am. So I know what it means, right, to be emotionally vulnerable, and I do I do my best effort. Obviously, you know what I'm saying. Nobody is completely evolved. Nobody's completely healed. Nobody's completely, a changed man or anything like that, right? And I don't want to give any misconceptions that I think that I'm like some perfectly healed, the greatest version of what a man could be or anything of that nature. I'm not good at talking about my feelings. I'm just not. I mean, when I get upset, I'll say like I'm upset, and this is what I'm upset about. But then if you want to have a conversation about it, I'm like, and I shut down. It really is hard. But I mean, I go to therapy. You know what I'm saying? I go to a therapist regularly, and I talk about my feelings in there. But a lot of times, I feel like not that I am ashamed of having the feelings, but I don't want to burden anybody else with what it is that I'm going through. Like, this is my shit. Like, you don't have to worry. Don't worry about my shit. You know what I'm saying? Even though in my mind, I'm like, well, whatever shit you got going on, to my significant other or friends or, you know what I'm saying? Like any of those people that I know, I'm like, yo, whatever shit you got going on, let me know. I'll help you.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like my shit, I'm like, nah, don't worry about me. I'll be all right.
You don't want to put it on anybody else.
Right. Right. But I know what it means to be emotionally vulnerable, right? In theory, and I want to be able to. In my partner, I can confide in them. I can say, "Hey, look, this is how I feel," as long as it doesn't have to be a discussion afterwards.
Okay. Yeah. Are you like that? Do you think you're like that because, when you said like you're better at like taking on other people's like issues or whatever?
Absolutely.
Are you better? Do you think that might be like, because it makes you feel like the hero a little bit, or like, you know what I'm saying? Like
there probably is an aspect to that.
Yeah.
Because as men, right? Like we are socially programmed to be fixers.
Yeah.
But also growing up, my parents worked a lot. I had to watch my younger siblings all the time. You know what I mean? And so like my focus has always, my entire life been on making sure the people around me, friends, significant others, whatever, are, okay.
Provide, protect, all that.
Yeah. And it's deeper than that, but we'll probably but somehow we'll probably circle back into that conversation later on.
That's gonna
but it's deeper than that.
Yeah.
I think. Do you find that your approach to your checking your emotional self is more cerebral than it is emotional?
Yeah, I think so. When I am upset, I start to ask myself a bunch of questions. Something I learned in therapy.
Okay.
Why am I upset? Am I at fault for the reason that I'm upset? Like, is it something that I did that caused said outcome? Right. Is what I'm upset about even reasonable to be upset about? So I start cycling through a list of questions, you know what I'm saying? And typically by the time I get to the end of that process,
you're like,
I'm cool.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, cool. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's one of the other things. I realize that a lot of people say things they don't actually mean or that they can't take back when they're upset.
Yeah.
Right? And so then I'm like,
let me wait.
Let me run through this cycle real quick and see how I feel. Okay. And that's that. And there you go. That's emotional intelligence.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
That's like that. Write the email down, but don't send it.
Right.
Yeah. Type it out. Read it.
I'm doing that right now with a family member. I'm like, let me write this email, but I'm not gonna send it until I've proofread it 3-4 times.
Until I read it a few times.
I do that with text messages.
Yeah.
I'll type out a whole text message and I won't send it. Like I'll do the whole thing, read it. I'll let it sit in my phone. And then I'll spin the block on it a couple of times, and I'll just be like, "Nah, it ain't even worth it."
But that kind of feels like emotional intelligence, or just like being emotionally vulnerable, if you will, because you are being smart enough to know, like, I shouldn't send this. I'm checking myself to be like, this is probably being emotional.
Yeah,
and I don't want to cause a fight. I don't want to say some shit I don't mean. Whatever. So, like, to me, that kind of falls into that category of 100%, like that's being a smart, emotionally aware person.
Yeah.
Is it easy for you to be like vulnerable emotionally?
Like I'll cry,
or to anybody? Like
I'll cry at movies. I'll cry at movies all day.
Oh yeah,
but that doesn't really count, right?
Yeah. No,
because that's like some baseline. Like if you don't cry at movies, I don't trust
you're weird.
you.
Right?
You're sociopath.
Definitely
right?
weird.
But But to me, like I'm less likely with the people that I'm closest with, like my wife, like to I don't want to burden somebody with my problems. I want to see how much I can fix on my own, how much I can handle on my own before I have to go to somebody, because not only does it put burden on them, but it also like shows a little bit of like weakness and vulnerability.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Yeah.
And like we can say we're these evolved men all we want to, but we're still have all these like centuries of
Hang-ups.
coding of just like
Right.
Man.
Exactly that. Yeah.
You know?
I think that for me, the reason why, like you touched on it, but I think the main reason is because I don't want to. It's not that I think that my wife will like use what I'm giving her to like do anything negative to me.
Right.
That's not what it is. I think for me, the programming part of it is I'm taught as a man that if you are vulnerable, then you like lose some type of power in your relationship.
Yeah.
Right.
And the power dynamics change. Like as long as I can hold stuff close to my vest, then she doesn't really know who I am. She doesn't really know who I am, right?
Right.
So I still have that ability to like manipulate and gaslight and do whatever I need to do because she really doesn't know who I am, right? And my wife jokes with me all the time. She'll be like, "Yeah, you're almost like a human."
Yo,
Like,
that's
like
crazy.
you're like
Yo.
almost you're like kind of like a human, like she
Sometimes.
No, she's saying like I'm getting there.
Right,
And I'm
right,
like,
right,
cool,
right.
you know what I mean? It's like I'm like, all right, so I'm like in the wheelhouse. And she's like, yeah. She's like, but you went like the majority of our relationship, like you weren't a real person, you know? And I was like, damn, okay. And then she's right. Like I haven't really been that human, like in our relationship. It's been very much like I feel like men operate like robots. We operate like shells most of the time. Like we're not really there. We're not really there.
We're physically there.
We're physically there.
We're physically
But
there.
we're not emotionally there. We're not mentally there. You know, our feeling, like nobody really knows what we're thinking. Nobody really knows how we feel about stuff. Men walk around. I mean, you might be upset at something and it doesn't have anything to do with anything that your wife did or your kid. Like nobody in the house, I'm saying, right?
Right.
And men walk around slamming doors and stomping up and down the stairs and sulking,
Yeah,
being in their
yeah, yeah.
bedroom. You know what I mean? Like, so, and it's like, that's not fair to everybody in the house
You
with you.
used a good example, and it's so funny. I was like, oh, I told you guys before we started, I got this story. This is like a perfect segue.
Okay.
To where you said like you don't want somebody to use it against you later, so you're like, let me just keep it close to the vest so nobody knows how I'm really feeling, right? So last night, my daughter, for the first time, she's 3, she yelled at me. She's like, ah! And I looked at her, I said, you do not yell at daddy. And I saw it register. She doubled down on it. She's like, I'm gonna do it again.
Yeah.
And she yelled again. And so I said, okay. I picked her up and I took her to her room and I said, I'm going to go have a chat with her because she yelled at me. Right. And here I am. I'm like, I'm the father. I'm the man. So I have to go do this. I'm not going to go yell at her. I'm definitely not putting hands on her.
Right.
But I'm going to go and her and I are going to go sit in her room with the door closed and we're going to have a conversation. And we have a conversation. I'm like, what'd you do wrong? I yelled at daddy. Do you understand why that's wrong? We're having this great conversation. And then I asked her, do you understand what you did and why that's wrong? And she was like, no.
No.
And I was like, okay, let's start over. Right. So we start over.
What, can I ask a question? Can I ask you a really quick question?
Yeah.
Like, did you ask her why she yelled at you?
It's a good question. I don't think I did. And that's again coming from this thing of just like, you don't yell at me because I'm your dad.
Right.
Yeah. It didn't matter why she yelled.
Right. But people don't realize she's 3. She has a reason for it.
Yep.
Yeah.
There was a reason for the yell. So no, to answer your question, I don't know. But I got her to a point where she calmed down, but then she basically doubled down. I was like, I don't know. And I was like, all right, let's start over. And then my wife knocks on the door, and I was like, I got this, babe. And then we're talking, and my wife knocks on the door again. I said, I got this. My ego and my pride starts kicking in. I'm like, I have this.
Yeah.
Right.
And my wife then comes in because she can tell that we're not making the progress we probably should be making,
Right.
or it's taking a little longer. And she comes in and starts doing the gentle parenting thing. Do you need a hug? It's okay. Da da da. Completely felt like she undermined everything that I was
Right.
doing.
Yeah,
Which in reality, looking back on it, my wife did nothing wrong.
Not at all.
She heard her daughter crying, and she thought, I need to go in and step in. But it felt like in the moment, she was like mediating or like being a moderator between me and my 3-year-old daughter, and it made me feel and look like a punk.
Right.
Yeah. Or
And
like
so I was
less
like-
of an authority figure.
less-
Yeah.
Yes. And so I was like, wait a second. I can't, again, what people think of me, especially my kids. I'm like, now my kid thinks that, oh, dad's a punk.
Weak.
He needs mom to come in and fight his battles. And so my wife and I had a great conversation. She apologized. She's like, "Oh, I see what you mean. Like maybe I shouldn't have done that." And we talked about how we'll handle that in the future, right?
Right.
But it was a moment for me as a man where I was like, I really wanted to just like, I was being stubborn. I wanted my daughter to stay in that room until she said, "I'm sorry," and I know why I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And when my wife came in, it messed up my ego and my pride starts kicking in. And again, that's that like, I'm a man, so I have to be this way.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right.
But like, what did I have to be that way,
No.
or could it have been a collab? Where like, you know what I mean? Like,
Could have been something completely different.
right.
it could have been a dope collab. Mom and
Yeah.
Dad could have came together for a dope drop. We could have
Yeah.
been like, hey, let's collab on this amazing idea to get her to just like
To understand
yeah.
why not to do this or
Right.
that's fair. Yeah.
And
I
where,
do
does
that.
that, and where does that come from, though? Right, top of the pyramid, right? Like that ego and that fire that you actually physically felt. It wasn't just emotional, right? Like even in your mannerisms and the way you're recalling it right now, I can see the ire. I can see your facial expressions. I can see it's building up inside you, even physically right now.
Oh.
Where does that come from?
But here's this is my opinion. You know what I'm saying? I'll let y'all go, but this is just my opinion. Like I feel us as millennials were raised by boomer parents, right?
Yeah.
And boomer parents were raised by the
Silent
silent generation.
The worst.
Yeah, no joke though.
The
Like
worst.
literally, no, like
The
they
worst.
had to give them they had to give reminders. You know what I'm saying, to their parents, and asking them if they knew where their goddamn kids were. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the boomers. Yeah. Well, they did that for us too.
Yeah, well, I know, but
On
it started
television,
back
yeah.
then.
It started back
It
then.
started back
yeah.
then.
our
like-
grandparents.
Yeah.
Like like depression era.
Right,
like,
right,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
right.
They
Because
were
they had been
terrible.
through so much shit. They just didn't
Check
fucking
the fuck
care.
out.
They
Yeah.
checked out.
They
Yeah.
were gone.
They checked out. And then the boomers, you know what I'm saying? Like, they told us, speak when spoken to. You know what I'm saying? Like, be seen, not heard.
Yeah. Do as I say, not
do
as
as
I-
I say,
Yeah.
not as I
I
do.
hate
If
that.
I say no, no means no. But it robbed a lot of millennials, and we see that in our political cycle today. It robbed people of critical thinking skills.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Robbed them of critical thinking skills.
Yep.
Instead of saying, hey, don't jump on the sofa, and then, you know what I'm saying?
Why?
When they say why, well, because, hey, listen,
When you jump on the
when
sofa,
you jump on the
this
sofa,
didn't-
you could fall, bust your head open, you
It's
could break your
dirty,
arm.
the bacteria.
And then they start cycling through this in their brain at a young age, right? And you're teaching them critical thinking skills. But our parents was like, get the fuck down.
Yeah.
Well, you can even break it down like generationally too, right? Like,
Right.
but you can also go culturally. So I had
Right.
a lot of friends growing up who were raised by black parents, let's
Right.
say, right? And a lot of them would tell me, "Oh, we would just get whoopings."
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
we would
that's
get.
the
You know
You know what I
reaction.
mean?
Yeah.
That was every day.
so-
Most parents whoop.
Yeah.
most
Black, white, or otherwise. Most parents whoop. Yeah.
Most did, but a lot of times I saw
Oh,
like
boomers
from-
got their ass whooped,
Hell
black,
yeah.
white, or otherwise.
Hell yeah.
Now-
Everybody's
now-
getting the brakes beat off of them.
Yeah,
Those-
now
those-
millennials, it kind of started to shift in some households.
Yeah.
And we joke about white
Yeah,
children not
but
getting
they
beat.
kinda, like, started
but
to
nah, they
not
was,
do it, yeah.
But white kids was
Oh, they was getting their, yeah.
they were
getting
just
their
doing it
bells
behind
rung.
closed doors. Where I feel like some other parents
They
are like,
didn't
"Yeah,
talk
I beat
about
my
it.
Yeah,
kids."
yeah.
I think they didn't talk about
Yeah,
it in
yeah,
white
yeah.
families.
Definitely.
Was
It
really
was
what's
about
going on.
maintaining
Yep.
an image.
Yeah,
When
well,
Matt showed up to school, with a black eye, like,
Yeah.
Matt, who gave you that black
I
eye?
failed.
Ran into the door. Nah.
I ran in the door.
Well, you also can't forget. I mean, don't forget that you're going from boomers to millennials, but there's also the Generation X.
Gen X, yeah, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the transition of
Yeah.
the kids that got
Yeah.
beat down.
They got
Right.
Hey,
in
Gen
the
X got beat.
streets.
I feel bad for Gen
Yeah.
I feel bad
I mean,
for
I'm
Gen
right there in the
Xers,
cusp.
man.
Like,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
a month
Yeah.
away.
Right.
One month
month?
away from being Gen X.
Yeah,
boy.
you're a Zennial.
Zennials.
Zennial, yeah.
Zennials. Yeah, those are the transitional kids that got
Yeah,
those
that's-
guys get your chains.
Well,
in
and
your
they're
backs.
the ones. My brother's in that generation too, and I've noticed that. So they're like 40s, 50s
Yeah, yeah,
right
yeah.
now, right? They're the first generation, and just sort of by proxy, like they didn't mean to, I guess, but they're the first generation that gave tablets and phones to kids.
The Gen
Yeah,
X.
Gen
yeah.
X,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and so
true.
without knowing,
my kids have tablets
That's
and
what I'm
phones, but
saying.
I limit their
good on you,
But-
but some people don't.
You
I
said-
don't limit
some
shit.
people
I give them tablets. I don't limit nothing. I don't do it. There's natural consequence to it. It's like my son has soccer practice, so he doesn't get to play when he's at soccer practice. He has to go to school. He has to do his homework, and then he gets to play. He gets to do whatever he wants to do when he's not doing.
When he's
it.
done all of those other
Yeah.
things. So
When he-
same thing.
yeah.
Same thing. I do the same thing. then.
Yeah. I just
So,
don't let you come
so,
home
like-
and just play on your pad for 9 hours.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
if
no,
you,
no, no, no.
If
If
you
you
come
got
home,
stuff to do, you gotta
you
do-
do
yeah.
everything you do, then cool. Whatever you want to do in your spare time. You don't want to go outside and skin your knees up and ride bikes and stuff. You just want to play on your pad
And get
Fuck it.
kidnapped?
Yeah. That's our generation. We was getting kidnapped.
Right.
We was getting snatched.
Go ahead. All right. So everybody got their
Vulnerability.
Vulnerability joint out.
Yeah. Yeah. I was vulnerable. I got kidnapped when I was 3, so I was vulnerable. I did.
You did?
Oh yeah, I got kidnapped. Yeah.
Okay, hold on a second.
We can't just skim past that.
Oh no, I got 100%.
kidnapped.
Yeah, I got. So I was at the mall. My mom was we was at Buster Brown's. I'll never forget. We were at Buster Brown's in Long Beach Mall, and my mom turned her back to look at some shoes on the wall. And I was
Right.
sitting in the chair, close by the door. Maybe I was chilling, doing my thing, and I remember bits and pieces of it, but I don't remember. You know what I mean? Like I was too young. I don't remember like everything. Sure. But so I just remember walking through the mall. And then getting to a door. No, and I remember looking up at the person walking with me, and it was an old white lady. And she walked me out the front door. And right when we got out the door, like, it felt like the world like collapsed. It was like, I don't know if like a SWAT team, like I don't know who the hell showed up, but it was like people just showed up. And there were authorities on, and then like somebody like grabbed me like gently and took me inside, and I don't remember anything else. But then my mom told me the story later. Just some old white lady just had me. She was about to, I don't know where she was about to do with me. I don't know where she was taking me, but she had me. And my mom, like, it had to be like that she recognized it. My brother was there too, so she couldn't like leave my brother to go run after me. So it had to, it probably was 67, maybe 2 minutes.
Damn.
That she lost track of me. And that's how fast it happened. And she called the authorities, where she like picked up my brother, ran down the escalator. The mall people were like right there. She was like, "Dang, somebody just stole my son," and then that's how they caught her.
Dang.
It was that quick. I honestly think if it wasn't an old lady, I think her age played a part. I honestly think if it wasn't an old lady, I would have been. I don't know what would have happened. I have no idea. But
Pup was cute.
crazy.
Right.
He was cute.
Pup was cute.
Yeah.
They got me, man. They just like my ears.
She's like, I always wanted one of these.
Goodness.
Just put me in a museum or something like that somewhere. Some right place.
Goodness.
Yeah.
So you don't remember any of this?
I did. I told you. I remember
but I'm
bits.
saying,
Yeah. I don't remember the
but
whole
you
thing.
don't-
Yeah.
Do you think that has shaped any of your growth as emotionally or otherwise? That experience?
It made what it did was I always felt like my mom was gonna like protect me. I think that's what it did. Like I always knew, like, nah, like
Mom's gonna be there.
That's huge, though.
No, it really is.
For
like,
kids to
yeah.
feel safe.
It really
She,
is.
she like literally stopped me from getting kidnapped. Like
That's
y'all, like everybody don't got that story. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
she
That's
got
the
on it
epitome
quick.
of keeping your kids safe.
No doubt about it. So I was like, yeah, mom's got me. Like for sure. That's what it did. And like no matter what, later on, I don't, whatever your relationship is like with your mom or whatever, but like later on, I always knew like certain things about my mom. Like she gonna provide, she gonna make sure you got money,
She can make sure you're safe.
and she gonna make sure you safe. Like those two things, I know for sure, no doubt about it. So, that would be provider and protector. Actually, that's what.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
That's the epitome of it. Like mom's is a provider and a protector.
The actual.
Keep you away
the
from the
real
old white
thing.
lady.
Yeah. She really saved me. Like I was like, yeah, she's dope for that.
Good.
So how do you think that in turn then informs your opinion or your view of women today? Or does it? Or
It does.
you think you would have been this way whether or not your relationship was solid with your mom, or this solid with your mom?
Well, no, my relationship with my mom definitely affects and affected how I view women. Good for better or worse. You know what I'm saying? But either way.
Right.
But it's all. I mean, we're old, so it's like it's the whole experience. It's not. It's not like any one thing. When you know what I mean, like when you're younger, it comes down to like these like events, right? It's like these canon events. But when you're older, it's just more like a feeling almost. You know what I'm saying? It's just like now, so I feel this way about my mom, right? And if I wanted to like get to the core of anything, then I would have to like get into the nuance, and I would have to get into like, oh, that's where that came from.
Right.
Oh, that's why, I feel this way about her or whatever. But like generally speaking, it's just like I feel like this about my mom, and it definitely affected how I treated women. And I had to do a lot, and I have to do still, but I had to do a lot of unpacking. Between the dynamics between me and my mom, I had to do a lot of unpacking of like, is she to blame for that?
Bro, like y'all just hit me with some shit. And I know we have more questions we get to, but you just hit me with some shit. Cause you were like, he asked you if, you know what I'm saying, like your relationship with your mom, how you felt about your mom affected your, you know, your relationships and things of that nature. And so I'm sitting there thinking to myself, and I've obviously, you know, done the work to unpack this specific thing, but it just dawned on me, my reason for not being able to be vulnerable with people is because, like, whenever I tell my mom some shit that was going on, she would tell me a even worse story from her childhood to shut me the fuck up.
That's me.
Yo, so I was just like, why?
That's that
why
boomer.
Even,
that's that boomer.
Why even say anything?
Yeah. That's that boomer narcissism.
Yeah.
That's that boomer narcissism.
Right.
They always got
So
to
they just me.
one dude up, like one worse.
She said you got kidnapped for 4 minutes. I got
walked
kidnapped
in
for 4 weeks.
I had to walk to school in the snow in 19.
Right.
You're like, all right,
Yo,
man.
every time. Still to this day.
Yeah.
I call my mom, I'm like, oh man, my back's been killing me lately. And she's like, oh, you want to talk about back problems? And then I'm just like, okay,
The
that's my
oppression
bad.
Olympics.
Yeah, I'm not,
You won.
Never mind. Yeah, that's
You
what I
won,
said.
man.
That's what I said. You won.
Yeah, you
get
tell
it.
me about your problems
But
now.
as soon as she starts telling me about, oh, so you want to talk about, I'm like, yep, I know where this is going.
Never mind.
Never mind.
Man, that's it. That's that whole generation.
Yep.
That's like how they learn how to process stuff. That's how they learn how to communicate
That's
with their
why they
kids.
gaslight us when we talk to them about, you know what I'm saying,
Stuff that
patriarchy, capitalism, politics.
Yeah.
They just gaslight the shit out of us.
Even
Yeah.
even parenting styles though. Like I talk
Oh,
about,
hell
I
yeah.
talk
Oh
to
my
my
God.
parents, and it's like we live and have kids in the internet age where you want to know how to swaddle a baby, go to YouTube, they'll teach you in 10 seconds.
Right.
But you want to ask your mom, she knows way more than the YouTube blogger who's got a whole business teaching you how to swaddle kids, right?
Yeah.
And so it's crazy. Like these moms, mostly moms, and dads sometimes too.
Yeah.
But like the moms are just like, I know what I'm talking about because I did it. And you look back and you're like, how did they do it? They had to just be a village.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, I gotta go talk to the neighbor and see if she knows how to do this and this. And they just discredit kind of how we do things.
But here's the thing, though. They weren't actually doing the thing.
No.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Yeah, they
I was
weren't-
neglected.
Yeah.
We were neglected.
You're like, I never got swaddled.
Yeah, I don't remember. I got swatted. I don't remember getting swaddled that
I was
much.
like, tuck you in. What's that?
I think up
bedtime.
until I
Good
was
night.
like,
I said good night.
yeah,
Right.
go to sleep. That's
Yeah.
what I got. A lot of that. So yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
Well,
All
the
right.
things that they did have villages for, a lot of times they just don't understand that the village now is different.
It is.
Right?
Yeah, it looks
Village now
different.
Village now is global,
Right.
And they just don't know where the
Digital.
village now is where we go, right? As
Yep.
opposed to the village then was the neighborhood or
Mm-hmm.
the neighbor or upstairs or downstairs or whatever it might be.
I don't think
Right.
they were doing that
They
shit
just
Right.
They
wasn't
say
asking
it
nobody.
sounds good. It's a good
Sounds
story.
Yes, yes.
They be lying. My dad,
It looked good on Lifetime.
my dad's got a tendency to stretch the truth out just
though.
a
Hell
little
yeah,
bit.
especially behind the
I'm
day
like-
stories.
I'm like, hold on, you're 5'7", 190. You beat up who? No, you didn't beat anybody
I
up.
pummeled them.
Okay.
Bro, I just Googled it.
wait a minute. Rocky Marciano died in 19.
You ain't never met no Dr. Martin Luther King.
I did. He punched me in my chest. Like, nah, bro. I thought you was somebody else. Stop lying, man.
Oh, man.
Oh boy. All right. Next question. How do you view equality in relationships? And what does that look like in practice?
Let's give that to Brett.
Okay.
That's a Brett.
Me and my wife, to every extent, are equal in everything. In terms of like, I'm not gonna make her do something that I wouldn't do, nor am I gonna do some stuff that she's like, oh, I'm just not doing that. But we also pick up the slack for each other. So if she's working all day and I'm at home making content or doing whatever, I got time to put a load of laundry in or do the dishes or whatever. And I have no ego when it comes to like, oh, men, gender norms. You know what I mean? I got no ego. It's like men don't do laundry and men don't do this. But some people still to this day strongly believe that men should be protector, provider, go out, make the money, do whatever. And then when I get home, I need a hot meal, I need a cold beer, and don't talk to me. There are still people, and I learned that online. I learned that from people, mostly women, who are commenting on things that I make to say, "Oh man, I wish my kid's dad was a little more like you," or I wish they're not even not together anymore. I wish my husband
Yeah. Yep.
would get off of his phone
Yep.
and play with his kids.
Yep.
Right.
I get that all the time.
And it's just wild to me. So to me, I look at my wife and I as teammates. We are on the same team, and we both have our roles can change. It's one day I'm the quarterback, she's out catching passes. Next day we flip it around.
They change hour to hour, low key in the relationship.
Really?
100%. And I got no ego with it. I got no problem with it being very fluid.
Yeah.
And being like, listen, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get done and get her out the door or get her fed, get her in a tub, get her sleeping, whatever the case may be.
Get her attention.
Whatever we got to do. I got no problem. But so to me, we are the ultimate equals, and I got no problem doing whatever role is needed on that day.
That's good.
Oh, go ahead, Pub. If you got it.
Oh,
Go
yeah.
ahead.
I was ask the question again, though. I want to make sure that I answer it properly.
How do you view equality in relationships, and what does it look like in practice?
So how I view equality in relate. Well, so I don't believe in equality like in relate. Equality is a weird term when you start talking about people because, like, you know, if I'm taller than you, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're not equal in height. So, you know, there's going to be certain things that I'm going to be able to, like, I could reach the top of my refrigerator. I could touch my ceiling in my house almost, you know, and, you know, so certain things are going to be my duty simply because I'm taller.
Fact-based stuff.
It's just fact. It's just physical. You know what I mean?
So,
like
so equity is the thing there.
equity is what you know what I mean? Like that's my thing. It's like, okay, so how do we balance this out? And Brett, you touched on it. You were talking about how, like, if she's gone, like right now, like we're here, right? My normal schedule is I'm at home. I pick up my kids. You know what I'm saying? I'm there to meet my son when he gets off the bus, whatever. But my wife's going to do that today. She hasn't had to do it all year, but she's going to do it today, right? So she's making it work for me now. She's not rigid. She's not like, oh, well, I have to go to work and I don't get off until that. No, she's like, all right, cool. We'll figure it out. So now I'm here, right? That's what I try to do is just, like, not to sound corny, but like Bruce Lee said, like, be like water. Like that's like the, you know what I'm saying? Like that's really the end game is to be like, okay, how can I fit? Like, how can I, you know, like there's like these little holes and we need to fill the hole and I try to fill the holes. You know what I'm saying? But for me, in my personal relationship, it's not equitable. Right? Like it's not, and my wife does significantly more than me. And she has since the inception of our relationship, since we've been together. And she is like a powerhouse in and of herself. And I think sometimes I could take that for granted, like where I'm like, I'm like, you're just so good at this, I'll get out of your way.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you got it, I'll move out the way. But you know, at the end of the day, it's still a lot of pressure on her, and she makes it look easy. She makes it. She's crushing it. So you're like, oh, she got it. And then like yesterday, I was talking to her. We were just like having like little random conversation, and she basically was talking about like retiring from her job. You know what I'm saying? And she was like, hey, you know, like, you know, if you can do X, Y, and Z, then I could like stop working. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And she was like, she was like, it's hard to do what I do. She was like, yeah, going to work every day, you know. And she was just telling me about her. That was the first time she had said that to me. And she's been working this job for 3 years. She's been at this place for 2 years, but she's been having in the same profession for like 4 years now total. But yeah, I'm like, okay, so even she cracks.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like even she struggles with stuff like that. And that's something that, like, I am trying to take ownership of is, like I said, I wish I was like how you were in the, like how you like, yeah, everything's equal. Like, I wish it was like that. I'm like trying to move up to the next step of just like filling the void when the void needs to be filled. You know what I mean? And being proactive as opposed to being reactive and waiting on her to give me direction all the time and be like, well, what do you need me to do?
Because my wife is that same way too, where she could be very much be a leader and be like, we gotta get online and research these baby products because we're having another baby, or we gotta book that trip or whatever. Women are just phenomenal at that kind of stuff, and they very much take on that
planning,
role.
organizing,
they're incredible.
All that stuff.
They do it.
I'm
we
shit at
wouldn't
that.
be anything without women,
bro. Listen,
so here we are, though.
we wouldn't even be right here right now.
But men
Literally,
want to be like, yeah, I'm the man, I'm the provider, I'm the this, but like, women do shit like that because my wife's the same way, and I know your partner's the same way too. And you're like, without them, we would be absolutely nothing.
What's even crazier than that, bro, is when you actually look at the core of any, like multi-million-dollar organization, these Fortune 500 companies. Yeah, there's a man CEO, right? But he's not doing any actual work. There's women inside of those organizations managing egos. You know what I'm saying? Making sure that contracts are,
They're doing all the clerical work.
Of the clerical
My
work.
wife
all
was
the
an-
real
that's the
work.
real work,
All the
dude.
real work.
It's the real
They're
work.
doing
My
all
wife
the
was
real
an
work.
executive assistant
Yeah,
to
that's the
to
real.
C-level
Doing the real
people.
work.
Yeah,
Exactly.
see,
Doing
that's
the real work.
10 years.
Doing the real work.
Doing all the work.
That's the dirty work.
That's the real work.
Yeah,
That's the real
Making-
work.
Wiping, basically holding his hand, being like, "Make sure you get to this meeting. Make sure you get on this flight. Make sure you know what I mean."
Imagine
Booking the flight.
booking the flight.
Booking the hotel.
Everything.
Imagine being able to.
Take credit for all of the shit.
Well,
that
that's
you
great.
did.
That's-
And all you did was show up and show your face.
It's wild. It's really. But this is what I like. I say this to men all the time about how like I get to shut my brain down a lot.
Right.
yeah.
Like I don't have to think a lot because my wife is thinking all the time. And like I said, it's hard at our age. It's hard in this position just to like flip that. Don't get me wrong, right? But I just wish that me personally, I won't speak for any other man, but like me personally, I just wish that like I had that that ability or desire or whatever to not put all of that on her. And I think that's, for me, that's been like the biggest struggle. Because finally I can identify it. Finally, I'm like, after fucking 42 years, or, I won't say that, but however long I've been in relationships with women, finally I can get to a place where I'm like, okay, this is me in this role, and this is how I'm showing up, and I need to get better at X, Y, and Z.
Right.
And now the next step is actually doing it. And that shit is hard. Like
Because
doing it is tough.
She carries that burden so effortlessly.
Yeah.
Like my wife does too, where you don't even, unless you sit down and talk about it like we're doing right now, you're like, you
Yeah.
don't even think about it. You're like, oh yeah, she just does that with ease.
So that's the thing. It's
Yeah.
like, think about it. And now I'm like thinking about it. I'm like, shit. And it gets like daunting because I'm like, damn, she does a lot. Look at what she like. Signing up your kids for sports, making sure they get their uniforms, making sure the uniforms clean every week. Like that's just the sport shit. Making when it's your week to get the snacks, she gets all the snacks. Think cupcakes for birthday parties in the class. That like just all day long. I'll tell the story. You can go answer the question next, Jones. Yeah. This is almost embarrassing, but it's funny. I just got to tell it. When we were younger, when you were absent, when you went to school, you got a note. You had to get a note, and then they give you a little slip, right? So my son, he gets sick every year like kids do. And I think it was this year. It had to be this year. He got sick, and I dropped my kid off at school. And it dawned on me, I was like, I've never written him a note.
Not once ever.
Not once. I've never written him a note. So I'm like, hey, maybe it's new. Maybe they don't need notes anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I haven't.
No, they still need notes.
They still need notes. I didn't know though, right? So I told my wife that, and I was like, hey, you know what I thought about? I dropped my sons off. So I'm thinking it should be my responsibility. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, because I can never get out the car, or I couldn't historically because I had my son has autism. I couldn't get my son out the car and take him into school. He would freak out. So long story short, my wife started laughing and she was like, yeah, idiot, because I do it every single time online. Like now you do it online.
Oh, shit.
So she does the note.
All the school stuff, man.
I had I laughed and then I thought about it and I was like, that's sad.
Right.
I had no idea. She's never mentioned it to me. I don't even know how to get on the app.
Wow.
Me neither. I'm a single dad.
I wouldn't know. If my wife unalived tomorrow, I wouldn't know how to get on the app.
Jesus Christ, bro.
I wouldn't know. I would have to like go to the school and
and
it'd be
have
like,
somebody walk you
hey,
through it.
can you guys show me how to do all there? And I know they're gonna be looking at me like, you fucking dummy. Like,
Right.
Has this kid not been living with you for you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's just stuff like that I think men we just take for granted.
Take it for granted.
We just take it for granted. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. And that's how a lot of men get left. That's how a lot of men get left.
Perfect segue. So, I was married for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And that's who my two little girls are by.
Mm-hmm.
And for the first, I don't know, I would say we were together for little over a decade. Married. We were together for a little bit longer than that, but married for a little over a decade. And the first half of our marriage, I felt like all I had to do was
Go to work.
go to work. Come on.
Yep.
Now, granted though, when I came home, I would cook dinner.
Yeah.
I cook dinner every night. You know what I'm saying? Because I like to cook.
Yeah.
It was my thing. Right? But after I cook dinner, I probably go play
Games.
2K, go watch
Sports.
basketball. Yeah. Go play football. Go watch football.
Yep.
2K, you know, or you know what I'm saying? Like go fuck around on the computer, stuff like that.
Leisure time.
But but I felt like I've been at work.
Been at work all day,
12
yeah.
hours. You know what I'm saying? I came home and cooked dinner.
Yep. I did my
You know,
duties.
I did my thing. Signing out. Signing out. Right? I didn't have time for my kids.
Yeah.
My oldest two. I didn't have time. I didn't have time. You know what I'm saying? They're in their 20s now, but they lived at the house with us. I mean, I did not ever talk to them or spend time with them.
Yeah.
But if like we planned to do something for the weekend, go to the pumpkin patch, go to the park, you know what I'm saying, or go to the amusement park, or like do something like that. Yeah, I was there.
Yeah.
That was great. I'll buy you anything you want. You know what I'm saying? But I was fun time dad.
Yeah.
I wasn't disciplinarian dad. I wasn't, you know what I'm saying?
Getting to know you, Dad.
Right,
Like just having those conversations.
Dead ass though. And then it started to dawn on me by the time like the two oldest were in high school. It started to dawn on me like,
They about to be gone.
yeah. And I'm like, and I
don't even know.
don't even, no, I'm not even joking.
Yeah.
Well, Quentin wasn't in high school yet. I think he was like 12 or 13.
Yeah.
So I started coaching his basketball team.
There you go.
Right. And then I started going to all the parent teacher conferences. But I mean, she told me, she was like, you have to do more than just be present.
Yeah. Well, you got to be present in other ways. You got to show up in other ways.
Yeah. Like you have to do more than just be in the house.
Yeah.
But by the time it dawned on me, you know what I'm saying, that it was killing the relationship,
It was already.
she was gone.
Yeah.
She had checked out.
Yep.
And so when I tell you,
the indifference sets in.
so when I tell you that I was doing everything, I'm talking about cooking, cleaning.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Quit my corporate job. Started working from home so I could be more there. Got an au pair to help with the childcare. I'm talking about I put in, you know, so much effort.
Yeah.
But it was too little too late.
It's too go-
And also, not only was it too little too late, not only had she checked out from me,
Yeah.
but she had checked out completely.
Kids, everything. Yeah.
Completely.
She broke.
Mentally.
She
Yeah,
broke.
this isn't the life I wanted.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly that.
Damn.
Exactly that. And so, you know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, I'm not going to put any of her story in the street or,
No.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
or anything of that nature. But I can, for the longest, I couldn't see how I was responsible. I'm like, I did everything a man's supposed to do.
Yeah.
I
Eventually.
done paid all the bills. You know what I'm saying? I done, you know.
You're in the house every night.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not in the streets.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh
I'm
man, that
home
was
every
my
day.
that was my
Bro.
go-to. My go-to was, I'm home.
Every day.
I don't go nowhere.
I said I cook you dinner every night.
And that's not enough though, because it's like you think that's what they want, but you're not listening to what they really do want.
Yeah.
But it's because that's bare minimum though.
Yeah,
That-
you're
I mean
right.
that's below the bare
And
minimum.
you're also
yeah,
going based off of like again these
Other
like
dudes.
constructs and like gender
Right.
norms, where it's
Right.
like, well, I know a bunch of dudes who aren't even home.
Yep.
Listen,
so you
I
start-
wouldn't even say shit like that.
So you start doing like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah,
You
right.
start- you
Giving
start
yourself
doing-
a pat
yeah.
on the back just
Hey.
for doing the bare minimum, not like you said, being at the parent teacher conferences,
Right.
Sitting them down and being like, "What? Talk to me." Not
Right.
just like I'll be down in my office playing video
Yeah.
games.
The
That's
phone-
exactly where I was at.
that's
In my
the-
office.
That's the phone. The phone works both ways, dads. Like,
yeah.
that's the same vibes. Like,
Right. No, big fact. But so
you come talk to me if you need to.
I mean, there's other nuance to it. She was in the military for some, you know what I'm saying, some period of time, and there was some, you know, some
PTSD.
Yeah, some PTSD, and there's other aspects of it. But the long and short of it, though, is that I knew all of these things, and then the postpartum depression
Oh,
from
yeah,
the
that
two
get-
little
oh,
girls,
yeah.
right?
Every time.
But never for a moment did it ever dawn on me that I wasn't doing enough. You couldn't have convinced me.
No, hell no.
Couldn't
As a
convince
man,
me.
hey man,
Couldn't
I'ma
have
tell you,
convinced me I wasn't doing enough.
when I started to learn that I wasn't doing enough was when I started to be the sole provider. That was when I learned it. Because before that, we were splitting bills. It was 50-50. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. My wife, she had my first child, and she quit her job eventually, like a year, maybe, I don't know, a year or something. I forgot how old he was. And I was the sole provider, right? And conversation. This is literally how the conversation went. I came home one day, and my wife said, you know how they got to coddle you a little bit. She was like, you know, I really appreciate you going out there and providing for us and bringing home the money. She's like, and you're doing great. You're doing great. She said, but I just, you know, I need more. I need more out of you. I need you to help out more. And I was like, how so? You know, she's cooking and cleaning and I was like, she was like, I need for you to relieve me of the baby when you come, all that stuff, right? I started pushing back.
Yeah.
I started doing the like
I'm tired.
and not the definitely that. Like I need to come home. I need my time.
Right.
I've been at work. And it wasn't like a rude, it wasn't like the tone I took wasn't combative at all.
No, nor did I.
It was not combative at all. I wasn't like, what do you mean? Like
To be honest with you, I was confused more than anything.
I was shocked. That's what it was.
Yeah.
I couldn't even be mad because I was shocked. So I was like, what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? And she was just like, and this is how my wife laid it out to me. She said, this is why I will put my wife up against anybody when it comes to communication.
Right.
Anybody want to challenge her on how to communicate to a person? I'm like, nah, she probably gonna get you. Like, cause she communicated to me and I'm dumb as shit. And she was like, she was like, look, she said, okay. She did like a mathy question. She said, how many hours in a day is there? I was 24. She said, okay. She said, how long do you go to work? I said like 8 to 10 hours. She said, okay. Just do 10 hours. She's like, you got 14 hours left. So yep. She said, and when you come home, what do you do? I was like, nothing. I eat and chill. And she said, okay. She said, now when I get up, there's 24 hours in a day. But from the day I wake up, from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to sleep, and this I'm adding this in hindsight. My wife was breastfeeding my child, both of my children. She breastfed them both for 2 years apiece. My babies used to be on her boob in the middle of the night because babies feed in the middle of the night. So she would have my kids even when she was sleeping.
Yep.
She had to take care of my babies. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Like that's deep. Like I never so I got to avoid, because what could I do? I couldn't soothe them. Right. So by default, she had to be the parent to pick. Like what when you're breastfeeding, it's different. It ain't like you can get up and go hold your bit as a man. Like you ain't nothing. They want that boob. So I can go pick them up and bring them into the room, but that's it though. Right. So she had to take care of my babies when she was asleep, and she was like, I never get any time off. You get time off. Right. I get you go to work for 10 hours, but when you come home, what do you have to do? And I was like, damn, got me.
Yeah.
And also, when you were at work, were you digging holes all day
Hell
long?
no,
That's what I'm saying.
Right. So we
were messing around with the other guy.
I was schlepping up and down a hot lot. That was the worst. That was the worst of it. It was raining. I had my hoodie on, but that was it. But you're right. I was in there with my boys, and we were laughing and kikiing and doing guy stuff and wrestling in the back, and you know, and
That's how it goes.
that was it. So
that's how it goes, man.
Terrible.
And you know what's funny? Made me hold myself to a higher standard in terms of being a husband and a father. Actually, is doing like TikTok, Instagram, where I'm portraying myself, but I'm putting the best version of myself out. Where I'm like, hey. I don't yell at my kids. I don't hit my kids. I think that I should be able to. They can paint my toenails, and we can do all this stuff together because I'm a modern dad and I'm a good dad,
right?
And so
when you go
in
home,
moments when I'm home and I want to lose my shit, I'm like, wait a second.
I'm lying online.
Don't be the guy. Don't be that guy. Do not be that guy that pretends to be something online but then behind closed doors. And I also think I don't want my wife to look at me like, oh
yeah, my wife has called me out.
I don't want my wife to be like, my husband is being that guy online, but at home he ain't shit.
He ain't shit. Yep.
That's my biggest fear in life right now, honestly, is not being the person I'm telling everybody I am.
Yeah. And so when I first started on TikTok, doing the deconstruction, you know what I'm saying, the decolonization, you know what I'm saying, like breaking down capitalism, breaking down religion, I was doing that. You know what I'm saying?
In real time?
In real time for my own self-healing at the end of a very, you know what I'm saying, like toxic marriage. I was doing that. And you know about this, but we've had these conversations. Like I was doing this in real time. I was myself disconnecting from these ideologies because before I started going on TikTok, I had to ask myself, how the fuck did I get here? Like, because I always thought that I was a good man.
I never thought that, but I definitely
not in that sense.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Yeah, not like I was the perfect husband or no shit like that.
Yeah.
But I thought that I was a decent man.
I thought I was
a decent man.
I definitely thought I was decent.
Yeah, I thought I was a decent man. I'm like, no, I'm a good dude.
Yeah, definitely.
And then I'm like, I started to really look at it. And I'm like, damn. And this is, you know what I'm saying, like has more to do with like my career and shit like that. But I worked in the financial industry. I was a finance director for a car dealership. Bro, half these people walked out of them dealerships with keys in their hands, not necessarily because I wanted them to, but because the managers, you know, the GMs, get the deal done.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. But I'm talking about walking out, having signed on paperwork for a car I knew was going to come back in 3 months.
Yeah. Oh, I hate that. That's the worst feeling ever.
I knew it was going to get repoed for a first time pay or first payment default. Knew it was.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So like that ate me up. You know what I'm saying on a moral personal level, right? And so and then to realize I was failing as a dad, and I had given my whole life to work. I had given my whole life to work.
That was a
for
trade-off.
somebody else to make other people rich.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not
Yep.
to make me rich.
Yep.
Did I have a nice car? Yep.
Yeah.
Did I have a
But
nice
not
house?
rich. You weren't
Yep.
wealthy.
But I wasn't wealthy.
Not at all. No.
Nowhere close. Nowhere close.
Yep.
And so I was literally trying to and talk about religion. You know what I'm saying? Know the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Like I know my own name. And then I realized, what has this ever given me?
Yeah. What did I get out of this?
Yeah.
It's a one-sided
Fear.
romance. Yep.
Yeah. The only thing I got out of this
Fear.
was fear.
100%.
Fear of some shit I don't necessarily know if I believe in or
You
not.
also have no control over either.
That part.
I got judgment. I got a lot of. I used to judge people a hell of a lot more before I deconstructed my religion.
Right.
I was homophobia, misogyny, rampant, like from the religion, rampant. But definitely like homophobia was probably the like that was it. Like I didn't. Yeah, I've done like I've never like physically harmed anybody, but I've thought some stuff and said some like stupid stuff to people that like I wish that I could stand in front of them now and be like, yo. I was wilding. Like that was really dumb and
growing
toxic.
up, like when we were in high school, like using gay as a pejorative was a regular thing.
No big deal.
Yeah, no, like it was nothing. You know what I'm saying?
I did it at 25. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I forget myself at 15, but at 25, you're like, man, you too old to be saying that stupid stuff.
Absolutely.
For sure. So yeah, that was me.
But that was like talking about, not to get off on another topic, but talking about religion. I've realized when I get people who come on to my platform, just like people come onto your platforms and want to disagree with you and spew hate, awful things at you. A lot of times those people, they're getting these gender norms and these social constructs from their religion.
That's why I had just brought it up. When I said I was deconstructing in real time, I had quite literally been using religion to justify
Everything
Yeah.
bad you thought, it would just fall back to like, well, God said.
That's what the book
Right.
said.
what the Bible said. Yep. Easy out. It's one of the wildest outs, man.
And you don't
It's
even have to defend,
bro, it's
you don't have to defend
manipulative as
yourself.
shit.
You
It's
don't-
manipulative
You don't even have to
shit, bro.
defend your
super.
stance. All you have to do is say, no, the Bible.
It's in the Bible.
Period.
Yep.
And then you don't have to have a thought in your own mind to say, this is why I feel this way.
No critical thinking.
Not at all.
But why did you think that? Like, that's what I do all the time. Even with religious people, I'm like, but why do you think that, though?
I don't
Right.
think it. I just regurgitate from a book.
Right.
That's
That's,
it.
that's
That's
scary.
it.
That's scary, though.
It is.
That's frightening.
But if we're looking if we're looking at today's political landscape, that's exactly what we're seeing.
Same stuff.
I didn't.
Oh,
I
yeah,
didn't-
100%.
I didn't look it up.
Yep.
I heard. Heard
They said
bro
it on
say it.
Fox. They said it on this.
That's politics, and that's also just everything.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I read this article. You read the article, or you saw a headline?
Right.
Where'd you see it? Because if it was Instagram, you didn't read shit.
Right.
You saw a screenshot of
Yep.
the.
You saw a meme. I used to do it. I used to do a show, like a political show. It was called Meme Knowledge because I just clocked that people would just have meme knowledge. Like they would just read memes and like posts and then you would
then tell your
question them.
friends.
Yeah. And then you would actually be like, let's see where that goes. Like unpack that a little bit and then come to find out that like how what I was talking about earlier with the studies, like then you read it for yourself and you're like, wait.
That's not
That's
right.
not.
That's
That
what
was
that said.
just the headline to get you to read the freaking article. You didn't care to read the article.
That's called clickbait.
Clickbait.
Right.
It's clickbait.
That's all it is.
That's a good name for a show
click-
too.
it's a whole-
That is a great name
I'm
for
sure
a
there's
show.
already a show
Yeah,
named
I'm
Clickbait,
sure.
by the way, but that's a great name.
All right. That's right.
Gentlemen, how do you define masculinity? And has that definition changed over time? Let's start with Pub.
So I define masculinity by its true definition, just like characteristics that can be commonly attributed to men, like things that men do in general.
Okay.
But I don't believe in the concept of masculinity. I know it's not a real thing. So I don't adhere to it. Or I mean, not to say I don't. I do because I was indoctrinated, right? But I try not to. I try not to care about it. It's not a real thing. I don't let it govern anything that I do. I definitely don't let it affect how I react or how I interact with my sons. I don't want it to affect I definitely don't want it to affect how I interact with my woman, because the things that men will say are like masculine, like men are feminine, let's say, right? They'll be like,
Well, let me interject for 1 second.
Yeah.
Help me out. So there's obviously a definition in your mind that you're thinking about, and you don't believe in that.
No.
Please help me out with that. So what is the definition of masculinity that you do not agree with? For those that are listening that aren't getting it.
The whole concept. So gender is a social construct. It's just made up, right?
Okay.
Like race is made up, like gender is made up, right?
Okay.
I would be fine with gender and race if we just used it as a way to like easily identify, like in a loose,
Identify for sure.
right? Just like easily, you know what I'm saying? Like you're white, I'm black, you're a man, you know what I mean? I'm a woman. That's fine. But that's not what gender or race was invented for. It was invented to separate, right? And then eventually to oppress. So I don't think that anything about gender is salvageable. I don't think there's any parts of it that we can keep, because if you try to keep any of it, then you kind of got to keep all of it. It leaves the door open for all of it to seep in. So I don't believe in it. I think it needs to be done away with: gender, masculinity, femininity, right? But when I think about things that men do commonly, which men do, we do a lot of stuff commonly that most men do or have done, right? I think more like men are combative. Men are manipulative. Men lack integrity. Men are egotistical. Men are self-centered. Like I think about stuff like that. When I think about all the things that I can attribute to being a man, I promise y'all, I cannot think of anything that most men do, or have done that is good.
That is positive.
That's positive.
Right.
Now I can think of stuff that doesn't mean that you don't do stuff that's good, or you don't do stuff individually,
Yeah.
right? But as a group,
Yeah.
I can't think of anything as a group when it comes to men where I'm like, that's good, and men do that one thing. Like people even say like men are protective, right? But if you use protection as like like how the mafia,
like as a monetary or like something, you know what I'm saying, to be earned or gained from you.
yes,
You know what I'm saying?
like
Then,
reciprocal.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
It's like you have to do something
Right.
for me to protect you.
You have to earn it.
You got to earn it. Hey, you're attractive. I'll protect you now because I'm attracted to you. That's how men operate when it comes to protection. Right? Oh, you do something, Brett. You're the mother of my child. You're the father of my child. You know what I'm saying? Now I'll protect you.
You're holding my money in your safe at your house. Whatever.
Yeah, whatever it
That's
is. Like,
something that's valuable to me.
Right.
whatever the service is, like now I'll protect you, and that's how the mafia.
quid pro quo.
It's a quid pro.
Transactional.
Everything is transactional. It's a quid pro quo.
Everything, yeah.
With men, so it's like when men do it like how the mafia says. The mafia goes, well, there's you own a candy shop, and they go, okay, well, I walk in your candy shop and I go, man, it's a nice candy shop you got here, Zay. Man, it'll be a shame if somebody
Knock it over.
burned it down.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then and then you start to get the message like, wait, Jones is gonna burn my fucking shop down if I don't
pay
if you
him
don't give me 10% of the vig, and then you go, oh well, give me 10% a week, and I'll make sure your shop stays up. But you're the person that's gonna burn the shop. So
Right.
why is that? How is that protection now? How are you protecting me from you? Why don't you just
Leave me the
leave me the fuck alone, and I don't need to pay you?
I had that happen to me in downtown Detroit when I was like 10 years old. I went to a Detroit Tigers game with my brother. We parked away from the stadium in front of this really awful looking apartment complex. And it was a street spot. No signs, no pay to park. It was free parking. We parked the car, get out. And as soon as we get out, about 3 dudes roll up and they say, hey, that's a nice car. It's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
We can watch it
We
for
can
you.
watch it for you.
We
Mhm.
can watch it for you for
$50,
$100,
yeah.
whatever it is. I'm like, what does it need to be watched from?
Yeah.
You.
Yeah.
You're gonna break my shit if I don't give you money.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
extortion.
Yeah.
Like,
You're right.
That's all it is.
That
Yeah.
is extortion.
It's,
This is fucked
it's
up.
an extortion racket. And
Right.
men and all men are a part of the racket. We're all in on it, right?
Right.
Because we
one
all
way-
get to
in
say
one way or another.
in one way or the other. It's like, well, I'm the bad guy. Zay, you're not the bad guy. I'm better than him. You need me, woman, to protect, you know what I'm saying, to protect you from public. Because public's gonna get you if you know what I mean? And it's like, but why don't you go talk to public and be
Yeah,
like,
tell them, hey, public, don't do that.
what the fuck are you doing?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, why don't you stop being weird? And, you know, that way I don't need to protect anybody. I got to put my life on the line. Right. So I don't, that's the problem that I have with masculinity. Like, that's why I don't, like, I'm like, where
Unsubscribe.
it's, I'm out.
Right.
Y'all
Yeah.
got it. Like,
Yeah,
you want to
yeah.
be a man, you a manly man. And, oh, that's masculine. Okay. You got it.
Yeah.
You got it. As soon as you can start attaching some things positive to it that most men do, then okay, I'll start to buy back. Or I'll buy into it. But as of now, I can't.
Like if somebody,
Okay, so play the advocate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do the three of you agree with this concept right here? Oh, do all of you agree with this concept? Just to play the advocate for
Well,
a
yeah,
second.
no. So I
Okay.
mean, yeah, I personally, well, really quickly, and then I'll let
Yeah,
you go.
yeah,
But yeah,
no.
really quickly. So my outlook on this is, I mean, it's similar in nature, right?
Yeah.
But I think that masculinity is defined by the person who sees themselves as a man. You know what I'm saying? In
It's
society.
individualized.
Yeah, it's individualized. So like whatever is masculine to me, whatever makes me feel
Like
like,
a man.
is what's masculine to me. But that
Yeah.
might be not by the same for you, Zay, or you, Brett,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
you, Pup.
Yeah.
But the idea of gender as a whole, yeah, I don't want no parts of that. I could care less. I'm a
Yeah.
gender abolitionist. I mean, even the Buddhists would say that, you know, you should be like water.
Yeah.
They said gender is an ever-changing aspect, you know what I'm saying, of human existence. It's not real. Like, it's just, we're
all a
human
little
beings,
gay.
we're fluid. Yeah.
We're all
Right.
a little gay. We're
No.
all a little whatever. Like,
Yeah, we're all a
everybody
little,
is.
yeah, we're all a little, you know what I'm saying, different. Like, bro, I've always, you know, as long as I've been on TikTok, painting my nails, I have 4 piercings in my ears in high school. You know what I'm saying? I used to dye my hair. You know, I would go and buy the women's Jordans because they came in purple and
Yeah,
pink.
I like the colorways.
Yeah,
for
'cause the colorways
women
was lit.
colorways is lit. I like them.
Colorways was lit. You know what I'm saying? So, and people are like, yo, you know, those are the women's Jordans. And I'm like, so?
They look fly.
They look good.
And they fit me, so.
Yep.
I'm the same way. I bought, my wife and I went to a store. It was a Sam Edelman. shoe.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I
They
know
only
shoe.
do women's shoes, but there was some sneakers, and I was like, those are dope. And I was like, would you be cool if I got these? She's like, I don't give a shit what you do. And I'm like, I'm gonna get these. And but then I never wore them because they did say. They said Sam Edelman on them, and I knew that it was a
People would
female
be
brand.
like,
People like, those aren't men's shoes.
Bro, wear them joints.
Yeah, no,
only women will say those are.
And they'd be like, oh, you got, and then they'd be like, oh, he's safe. He's got girl shoes
that too,
on.
yeah. There you go. Yeah.
But
There you know.
so your question was?
No, but there is. I want to jump in real quick because there is a level of, before I ask the question. So there is a level of, I guess, maturity. I think you need to reach, and there's a level of self-empowerment that I think you need to reach before you get to this level. I think of even enlightenment, right, where you would grab some colorways that aren't necessarily
Manly.
created for men, right?
Right,
And say,
right.
yeah, I'm gonna throw these on. I don't
Yeah.
care, right? That one meme that's going around, right, about Prince is the only one that could wear high heels, throw on some
blouse?
earrings
Yeah.
and a blouse, and still take your girl, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Facts.
yes,
Except for that was a
facts.
lie though, because all the '80s rockers.
Look the same.
Yeah,
They all look the same. They all had big ass
Yeah.
hair,
Yes,
and like
but-
poison was it
Yeah.
eyeliner. Like they weren't looking like they
but
all
he
were
could-
doing that.
But he could still do it in
But he could do it though.
2005.
Yeah, no,
He could do it when it wasn't cool anymore.
Yeah, he did
That's
it when
true.
yeah,
He could do it when it wasn't cool
Right.
anymore.
And
That's
still,
facts.
And still had a wicked jump shot apparently, right?
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Game,
And
blouses.
boots. And boots.
So then to play the advocate for a second, having all that in mind, at what point, or does it ever approach the line, that thinking of misandry? Does it, or can it ever
It can.
approach the
It
line of
can.
misandry?
It can. It can. I will say that first. I don't. Misandry is not a real. It's not a real thing. It's like reverse racism. You know what I'm saying? And as far as I know, as far as I can see, nobody hates men more than men. Right? Like in society, like there's no group of like women don't hate men like as a whole, but men seem like we hate men. Like look at what we do to men. Look at what men do to other men. Look at the wars, look at the famine, look at the, you know what I mean? Look at the abuses that men visit upon other men. So I don't think like misandry is like a real, it's like a real thing. It's like, to me, it's more, I look at it more like being disconnected from humanity. It's not a, you know what I mean? Like you just don't see, you don't like people. You hate everybody. Like there's no, like when you think about it, I don't think I can't think of a man, even the most misogynistic man. I don't think the most misogynistic men like men. I don't think they give a fuck about men either. You see what I'm saying? Like, but they may have like a disdain. They may have like a strong hatred for women, but they don't have a love for men. It's not like that. You know what I mean? It's not a transfer. It's like they don't like anybody.
Right.
Yeah.
They just hate everybody. Right. Okay. So I don't believe misandry is a real. I don't see it as a real thing. But it can't. You not liking masculinity shouldn't have anything to do with you not liking men, though.
Right. And that's exactly what I was about to say. So the misandry thing is always funny to me, right? Because if myself, you know what I'm saying, as a black person, especially as a black man, can identify that I have always been, right, in danger when it comes to white people and have been harmed perpetually, you know what I'm saying, by this concept of whiteness. And I'm not talking about like white people directly, you know what I'm saying? I'm taling about like the concept of whiteness, the idea of whiteness, has always been harmful to me and people that look like me. And I can identify that, right? And so when you're looking at from a woman's perspective, you could step in their shoes for a minute, like everything that they're in danger of. Is men.
It's men, yeah.
And so if they have an aversion to men, rightfully so. Right, like rightfully so.
You're like, I get that.
Yeah.
That's
You
fair.
almost feel for women that are born biologically straight because you're like, damn, I'm sorry.
Right.
Like you can't help but be attracted and want to reproduce with us, but you also hate us.
Right.
It's a
for real.
setup.
Right, it's a setup. And so like when they say misandry, I'm like, are you joking? Like if we look back, you know what I'm saying, to when I was young, domestic violence was a problem.
Yeah.
A problem. And it didn't matter the racial demographic.
No, everybody was getting beat.
I watched Cops say I saw it.
Yeah, no, and
white beaters. White beaters is a thing.
He called it an
Yeah.
A shirt earlier. I was like, hold on, pay homage. That's a white beater.
We got called a white beater, man, for a reason.
And
There's a reason why.
And then we look at their parents' generation, you know what I'm saying? Before that, they were giving women Quaaludes, putting them
lobotomies.
Putting them in mental institutions.
The word hysteria. Is all
hysteria and
related
stuff
to
like that. And so women, you don't think that those women who had children didn't talk to their daughters? And those women that had children didn't talk to their daughters?
Yep.
And then those daughters watched their mom, you know what I'm saying?
Get abused for freaking 20
cheat
years.
on. Yeah, dad got a whole family. Why do you expect... If women did hate all men,
Makes sense.
it makes sense.
That's actually the safest.
Right.
That's the safest thing, right? Like, but you wouldn't tell your daughter to hate all men,
No.
right?
No.
Like, you wouldn't say that to them.
No, you almost need them because you almost need them to experience it for themselves. Not to an extent of like,
I know what you mean.
Not to abuse.
abuse or whatever,
Yeah.
but you're like, I don't want to.
You'll see.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I don't want to plant the seed because maybe you'll be one of the lucky ones that doesn't have.
Maybe you don't want to ruin it for her either.
My wife is one of the lucky ones. She's like, I've never been abused by a man. I've never had like SA. Like, thank God. She's like, I've been very fortunate. But I'm also a strong,
wildly fortunate.
Yeah, she's also like, I was raised to be aware. Not that women that have anything happen to them deserve
to blame. Yeah,
but she's like, I've been just very aware of my surroundings and gotten out of shit when I felt like it was nasty.
Right.
So that gives me confidence that my daughter, having her as a role model, will be like, hopefully have that same experience, because I'm the same way as you guys. Like I mean, if you want to go masculine, feminine, and let's say they do exist or you do believe in them, I'd consider myself way more feminine than I would masculine.
Yeah.
Somebody describes themselves as an alpha male. I'm running this way.
Yeah, easily.
Like get away from me,
Easily.
alpha male.
Yeah.
Like I want nothing to do with you.
I do have a question. I've been waiting for somebody to answer this question for me for a long time. If there's so like many alpha males, right? Like who
follows?
Who's the alpha though?
The one who can fight the best. I don't know how they decide.
Alpha.
Who's in charge?
I think like today's standard is
Are all of y'all just lone wolves just roaming around by yourselves?
Today's standard, it feels like what I see at least is they're usually an entrepreneur. It's usually money. Who's got the most money?
Whoever has the most money.
Gotcha.
Seems like I'm the best.
Whoever has the most resources, then historically, then if it wasn't money, it was whatever. Yeah,
gold
you had goats or
and-
whatever, land or whatever it was.
Whoever owns the most shit.
Yeah. Damn, that's a sad
But that
life.
doesn't that I don't understand how that like gives. Listen, I can understand that having money grants people access to resources,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
However, I could not see myself, you know what I'm saying, involving myself with a person that is a shit human being
Just because
for the sake of access to resources.
it's weird.
But do women do that?
Yes.
On the regular?
No.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
wealthy as hell. I mean, and I'm not trying to
Is there
group all
women that
women
do
in.
it?
There are
yeah,
women.
there are women who
Yeah,
do
there
that.
is
Yeah.
women
Yeah.
that do it.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's a common trait. As
Hell
a matter
no.
of fact, in the black community specifically, and we know this,
Yeah.
85% of black households, the woman
woman
is
makes
the
more money.
breadwinner.
Yeah.
Yeah. But even aside from that, most women would rather have somebody who is an actual partner
Yeah.
and a companion,
Yeah.
you know,
Than a breadwinner.
than a
Breadwinner,
paycheck.
cheater.
Because
A cheater.
exactly.
And
It's
a
My
not-
wife
collector.
and I talk about that all the time. Where she's like, I had the opportunity many a times to go on some dude's boat, to go on some dude's private jet, to go on this trip. But she's like, I knew what came along.
Right,
with that,
right,
and I'm
right.
not playing that game. And I commend any woman who does that because it could be very simple. We had the
Oh, it's
conversation
enticing, yeah.
downstairs. If you didn't have any morals and you're a beautiful woman, get whatever you want.
But there's a lot of there's not a lot. I take that back. There are women, you know what I'm saying, who know the drill and sign up. I would say Melania's that person. I would say Melania knew the deal from day one. She's like, yo, I know what's gonna be.
Yeah. She
I
made
know
a
it's gonna
deal.
be. I'm gonna have this one child because that locks me in. You know what I'm saying? And then
We're good.
I
We're
know
good.
I know the rules.
Yeah.
I know the game.
exactly.
But
I
I'm a
think he
benefit.
asked for the child. I think that's his. I think he wanted the baby.
well, I'm
Usually men want the baby in those scenarios. I don't think the woman.
probably. I
Right.
mean, good chance. Good chance.
I'm pretty sure she's just like, I don't give a fuck. As long as you pay me.
Good
Because she
chance.
going to get money no matter what.
Right.
With or without the baby. She was going to get money like alimony.
No, big
you know what I'm
facts.
saying? Yeah,
Big
so
facts. Big facts.
She's
Big
like,
facts.
all right. He's
But
like,
I mean, he was married when he met her.
yep.
You know, she was 24 years his junior.
She's in her 60s, 50s. She's in her 50s now.
Yeah, he's 78.
So she's 40. Wait.
Yeah, she's in her
She's
50s.
54.
And she's 24 years his senior.
So when did she have the son?
Or maybe 26 years.
She had him in
Okay.
his 40s.
All right.
Sorry.
Let's let's bring it back.
Baron.
Let's put
Yeah,
let's,
Baron.
let's put the
Cap on that.
Yeah, the cap on this. How has that definition of masculinity changed for you over time?
How's it changed for me over time?
Yeah.
So I didn't really have this concept of like by being non-binary or anything of that nature when I was growing up. Like that's not something people talked about. I'm sure it existed.
Of course it did.
I'm sure it existed, and it's always existed in cultures outside of ours, right? So it was not something I ever really thought of. That I just said, this is who I am. Like this is just who I am. But I think that now looking back, had I had concepts of like this, had I known that gender didn't have to be this rigid construct, then I probably, you know what I'm saying, would have considered myself, you know, non-binary or whatever. Like I just don't care about your gender.
Yeah.
I think it's ridiculous. And all the roles that you try to attach to it.
Especially that.
Yeah, like I just don't care. I like to cook. I don't mind washing the clothes. I don't like folding clothes that much.
I don't like folding clothes.
Yeah, I hate that's the worst shit in the world to me. You know what I'm saying? But like none of the shit. I love taking care of my daughters, doing their hair and stuff like that. That actually brings me joy. Yeah, I enjoy doing their hair. I like having long hair. I like to paint my fingernails. I like, you know what I'm saying, wearing bright pinks and purples and, you know what I'm saying, neon. And if you're going to say that belongs to a gender and somehow that makes me less of a man, then fuck it, you got it. You can have it. I don't give a fuck about being a man.
Yeah.
Like, what does that mean?
And what's that mean? What
And what does that
get
mean? Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
What
Like,
does
do I get a
being a
platinum
man-
card and can I spend the money somewhere?
Does
or-
that make women like me? No, clearly,
No.
because we've
No,
already
what you-
established
No.
that women don't even like us.
I would say more women like me the way that I am than the
Now,
way that
yeah.
y'all
Yes.
are.
But
Yes.
but what you get is protection. What the trade off is you get protection from other men. Yeah.
Okay.
If you step outside of that boundary, then the other man will attack you.
Correct.
They'll ostracize you. They'll other you.
And that's something that I don't need. And I've established that like I don't care to be accepted by a group of people that consider themselves alpha males.
Right.
I don't need to be accepted by people who are the manly.
Also, I'm not attracted to you, so I'm not gonna do anything for your
bro.
validation. You
Like
know
the
what I'm saying?
manly shit, like manly stuff is not. Granted, like you want to go stereotype or cliches. Like I drink beer. I play football.
Right.
Like I do all these like manly things, but I don't necessarily like. I grew up with sisters, and I had brothers and sisters, but I always was like, no, I'm gonna hang out with the sisters because I
They
enjoy.
hung out with other girls, and
and
I
they
like
were
girls.
and they were cool, yeah. And the thing
And the
is,
sisters are usually just more.
they were chill.
and I
just
like.
better.
Here's the thing, I
Yeah.
like women.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
not just I don't like
no,
women.
absolutely.
I
Yeah,
don't
just
just
hang
like
out with them. Yeah.
vaginas.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like women.
Right, right,
I like
right,
who
right.
I like who women are.
Yeah, me too.
And probably because I was raised primarily by a woman, had sisters, whatever. I could blame it or I can attribute it to that. But I know some men. I have this one friend. He's like the most handsome dude ever. Like dude's like a model. He's like 6'1", super good looking guy.
Thanks,
I've
man.
known him for 10. I've known him for 10 years, and he's never had a
Talking about
girlfriend.
you too?
Yeah, exactly. Man,
I got
we're out
a couple guys. And I've known this dude for like 10 years and he's never had a girlfriend.
Right.
And I know exactly what it is. He doesn't like women. He wants to be with a woman.
Yeah.
He
Right.
wants to sleep with women,
But
but
he
he
doesn't
doesn't
like
like
them. He
women.
doesn't like them, yeah.
So they can smell that shit from a mile away and they're like, I'm not dating this fool.
He's bad at masking it. Some men are better at
Yeah,
masking
he's
it.
terrible at it.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you don't even like women. You just want to sleep with us and reproduce because that's what you think you're supposed to do,
do.
whatever.
Yeah.
But like, you genuinely don't, like women.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's weird.
I think
I don't get it.
I think for me the redefining of it I don't think I ever thought about it like years ago. Like I never.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Growing up, I didn't think about it.
Yeah.
It was never a thing.
It was never a thing to me. Like I never thought about it through the lens of like what is masculinity. That was never a thought that ever crossed my brain. I thought more in like crime and punishment or like okay, so like I was saying, so if you did something, the group would ostracize you for
Right.
doing it. So I thought in that way, like, don't do that because they'll be like, the homies will be like, why, you doing that? Right? Oh, look at this fool. You know, so I just didn't want to get laughed at. Or I didn't want to get picked on, or I didn't want to get, isolated, like out of the group and be like, we're going to get, like, he's the one, right? And so, I did stuff that wasn't really who I was. And I just wasn't, I'd be like, I wouldn't have done this if I wasn't trying to be accepted by this group of men.
Right.
I wouldn't have done
For male
this.
validation.
For male validation.
But
right.
then you
No
grow
way.
up and you mature,
Yeah.
and guess what? You don't have that group anymore because you have your wife, you have your kids, you
Yeah,
have whatever.
right.
I don't have granted, I kind of choose it this way. I don't have this big group of guy buddies.
Right, right.
I wish I had more guy friends, honestly, but it's harder as you get older to make guy friends. But like, I don't have that
And they're
group.
gross most of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they just say
Dude friends are weird.
outlandish shit. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, bro,
I'm not
fuck?
good in that
Yeah.
setting
Right.
of like 10 dudes going on a golf trip. I'm like, I don't think I'm not like you.
Talking about how much they hate their wives.
Yeah.
Right.
I needed to get out the house. I'm sitting there the whole time thinking, this would
can't
be
wait to
fun.
get back.
Yeah, this would be fun if my wife was here. Like, this would be super fun if she could
I
show
really
up,
wish she
man.
was here right
I like
now.
this, man. Because I don't like doing shit without my family, but I don't like doing shit without my wife because like she's my friend, obviously,
friend.
but like you
created years of memories together.
I don't want to have to tell her the story over again. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like when you go out, like yesterday we hung out. When I got home, I had to like tell my wife everything.
Right.
She was like, "Oh, so what happened? What'd you guys talk about?" Da, 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 da. It's not like I don't want to talk to her, but I just would rather her be there. It's
Right.
like
So
easier.
you
And
had
then,
to tell the
get
whole
her
story
side
again.
too. Be like, what'd you think?
Yeah, what did you think
Yeah,
about it?
right.
Not
I'm
just
just
like
like
this feedback.
Right,
But now
right,
it's like
right.
I gotta like tell you, and I was like, oh, we talked about this, or we talked about that, or we did this and we did that. But if you were here, we could just be like, hey, wasn't it funny when Jones did da da da? Oh, remember when Zay said that? Now we're having that conversation.
Right.
It's just easier. You know what I'm saying?
You know what became really obvious to me, and this is probably a really obvious statement, but I got married when I was 26, and we were only married for 2 years, but we were together for a long time. and that marriage didn't work.
Right.
And afterwards, a lot of self-reflection after a marriage that's failed, right?
Right.
And the biggest takeaway that I realized and what I want to tell my kids, and this might seem obvious, but it is so much more important to like your spouse
Oh, absolutely.
than it is to love them. It's easy to love somebody.
Yeah.
I love you, whatever. But if you don't like that person, because I genuinely, again, not to put anything out there, but I don't think I liked my first wife.
Right.
I think that I felt like we should get married
did
and we've
the
been
next
together.
thing, yeah.
Next step. I don't know how much I genuinely liked her and wanted to be her best friend. Whereas my wife now, I'm like, yeah, I'm like you. I'm like, no, you're my
Exactly the same, bro.
my best friend in the whole world. We have to do everything
Right.
together because you're the best. And that to me is so much more important. And I will tell my kids till I'm blue in the face. If that person's not your best friend, that's okay. But don't you even think about marrying that
Right,
person.
right.
Because you will be in
I don't
the
think
same
I've
spot.
encouraged my daughters to get married at all, to be honest with you.
Let's wait on that one.
Okay.
Let's
Okay,
wait on that.
okay,
Let's wait on
okay.
that. Let's wait on that.
We can
But
move on to
but
the next one.
I do want to get. I do
Okay.
want to get your. How do you define masculinity?
Yeah, so
and
I
has
didn't-
that changed over time?
I didn't answer the question because, and thankfully, I don't know how to answer the question, honestly. I don't know how to answer what is masculinity or how do I define masculinity, because what we've touched on already is when I think about masculinity, I kind of get like, ugh.
Negative.
I kind of get
get the
kind of
ick?
grossed out a little bit. Yeah, where I'm like, I know that myself, I don't fit into that bucket. And that's by design. That's not just like, oh, I don't know if I'm like them. Like, I know I'm not like them, and I'm cool with that.
Yeah, we've seen their behavior and we've made a conscious decision not to
Associate.
ourselves with that type of behavior. Yeah.
Yeah, so to me, I wish I had this like really complex definition of what I thought masculinity was, but I really don't. Besides all again, and this isn't just to sound like some political talking point because it's like trendy to shit on men right now, but I'm just like I don't know what I have in common with people who consider themselves to be super masculine. And I think how it's changed for me is just like we said, over time, I've realized that I don't want to be a part of that group. I don't need to be in that wolf pack. I'd rather be a lone wolf.
Yeah.
Or be hanging out with the women that are hunting and gathering,
Los
or
Lobos.
the ones that are picking berries and washing them off. I'd rather do that than be out with the guys trying to kill a damn horse or something. I don't know. I guess that's just So like it's sort of just to piggyback on what you guys have already said, which is like I've never considered myself a very masculine person, but that doesn't mean I can't bench press more than you.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
right,
yeah,
right,
yeah.
right.
That's
That
something
doesn't mean
different.
I
Yeah.
won't fucking beat you. I won't wrestle you and
Yeah.
tap you out. Like I'm still, I got all that in my DNA. You can't take that away from me.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah, but it's all of the other things that you say that make you a man that like we can see you're not actually that guy. Like you're not actually that guy. You know what I'm saying? I protect and provide for my family. Does your family feel that way about you?
do your kids like you?
Right.
I had
The kids like you was crazy.
Ego.
I grew up without a father. My father left when I was one.
Damn.
I remember him on my first birthday, and I don't have another memory of him since.
Wow.
I remember when I was in college, there was this guy that was trying to get with my mom. All throughout the years, there were guys that come in and out trying to date my mom. But I remember I was in college, and there was this guy trying to date my mom, and my car broke down on the way home from school one day. And she was like, "Oh, why don't you take it? He's a mechanic. Why don't you take it to such and such? He'll get it fixed for you." And I was like, "Oh, okay." Took it over to him. We having this conversation. Very misogynistic gentleman. And I found out that day while he was fixing my car. I don't know what was on this man's mind, but he's fixing my car. And we having this conversation. Out of nowhere, this man tells me, "You're not a real man, right?" And I said, "Excuse me?"
Because you know how to work on cars.
He said, "Look at your hands." And I was like, "What's wrong with my hands?" He said, "Look how clean they are."
Like, bro, I'm in college.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, but
studying.
my whole
Pencils.
life, now I'm in pencils, but my whole life has been pursuing this,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Pursuing,
Yeah.
right? So I'm in media. I'm in. He's like, "But you're not a real man. You got no dirt on your hands, no dirt on your fingernails. Come and talk to me when you're a real man." You know that I carried that with me almost my entire life.
Trying to live up to that idea or whatever he was trying to.
5 years ago,
Nah, that shit can hurt.
That shit's real, man.
And that's the harm that we were talking about. That's the harm we were talking about.
That shit is crazy.
Yeah, that's the
As a
harm we're talking about.
Not even a little boy, college.
Right.
Yeah, no, it get
It's not even like some little boy. Like, oh, you're not a
no crazy.
No, you don't have to
all right, man.
apologize. No, you don't have to
We get
apologize.
This is exactly what we're talking
Yeah,
about.
this is what we're here for.
Yeah, that shit is crazy.
It's like warning, men, watch your words when you talk to other men or young
Right.
boys.
Right. No, absolutely. Like that's the harm that I'm talking about.
And they supposed to be that's why, yeah. With the we're like men are supposed to be this like, oh, we're the leaders and all that stuff. And I'm like, these are the leaders.
How are you leading? How are you leading? You know what I'm saying? Like future men.
Yeah.
By tearing
Shitting
them
on
down. By tearing them down. Like what part of the leadership is that? And where are you leading us to?
Off a cliff.
More war?
Yeah.
More
war.
violence?
More self-hate. More,
Yeah. Less women wanting to have anything to do with us? Like where are you leading us?
Kids hating you.
Kids hating you? Where are you leading us?
So 5 years ago, I was talking to a friend of mine. It's a real long story, but we had I was in New York. We had a fire in our building. And so the whole building was homeless. So we were homeless for like 6-7 months. And so this great family in upstate New York took my whole family in. So my wife and my mom, myself, my son, I went to live with them. And the gentleman of the house was an Air Force mechanic. Man fixes
The engines and shit. Yeah.
he fixes fighter
Jets.
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 I got a boy who does that. Yeah.
Another mechanic. So we're in his backyard replacing an engine for one of his cars. And I don't know what I'm doing. I'm obviously, right? Like my hands are still clean. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm in the back trying to like help to give back. You know, we're all pitching in and stuff in the house. I mean, this family, we didn't even know these people. But my wife works with his wife and they opened their home to our family
took you in.
because they, you know, our fire was so big, it was on the news, like it was just a massive anyway. So I'm back there like trying to, I know what a wrench is, I know what a screwdriver is, yo, I'll hand you whatever you want. Like, how can I help? His name is Eric. Wonderful human being. I start telling him this story.
Right.
You know, it matches, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's listening. He says, that's such a horrible thing to say to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
This man says, everybody got a different toolbox.
Right.
This is mine.
Mm-hmm.
Yours is that. I wouldn't know what to do if I had to stand behind that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
My hands look like this because of this. Your hands look like that because you know how to hold one of those.
Mm-hmm.
Put me behind one of those and I'm just as lost.
Mm-hmm.
Rock your toolbox, man.
Yo, that is deeper than it sounds though. I mean, that's some profound shit. Like everybody
Put that
has
on a t-shirt.
Everybody's got a different toolbox.
Yeah.
20 years of pain and anguish
unnecessarily.
Yeah.
left my body in that.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, but it's so real. You know, I mean, y'all know that I'm real big into advocacy. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm boots on the ground in the streets all the time. And people are like, you know, I wish I could do, you know, what you do. I wish I could, you know what I'm saying? Like have the voice that you have and so on and so forth. And I'm just like, everybody has a different, you know what I'm saying, position, a different role, you know, in the fight to liberation. Not everybody is a boots on the ground person.
Nope.
Not everybody is a public speaker. Not everybody, you know what I'm saying, is going out there and swinging a hammer to build homes and stuff like that. Like, not everybody can do that. But there's something that you are talented that is valuable to society. I don't care what it is. If all you know how to do and you enjoy doing is painting, that's valuable.
Oh, absolutely. The arts
Do
is
that.
extremely valuable.
Do that. If you like to sing, sing. If you like to dance, dance. You know, if you like to act. Write a play. Be a performer. Like, this idea, right, that if you don't beat the shit out of your body for your entire fucking life, and then maybe, just maybe, have 5 years of retirement before you die, makes you a man is nuts.
I don't want to be a man.
Right,
That's what a
that's
man
not
is.
what I want.
Good.
Do you think that this whole entire planet, with all of these beautiful things to see and places to go, and, you know, beaches and mountains and forests, was created so that we could work ourselves to death and die in the same place we've been when we were born?
No.
Ain't no way.
And maybe go see one of those places.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Maybe if you're lucky, because for the most of these people, especially these alpha bros and shit like that, they ain't going nowhere.
My dad
Got a passport, don't got no money to go nowhere.
My dad's 65 years old. I bet he doesn't even have a passport. He's never been out of the country.
Right.
And
I think my dad's been out of the country once.
Doesn't make any
close to 70.
sense to me.
Yeah.
How have you not gone and seen the world? And he's not in a manly profession, but my dad, it's so funny because my dad will build a house from the ground up all by himself. But he also owned an interior decorating business. And so I'm like, that, which is cool. So I got to see this dad.
Right.
And I'm not going to sit here and say my dad's the greatest dude in the world, because I literally just wrote a song about it. It's been 8 weeks. He hasn't called me, and I'm going to sit here and I'm going to wait till he calls. I'm not calling him.
The phone don't work both ways with me. I don't give a
That's what I said.
You gonna call me or you ain't.
Yeah, you
ain't
gonna call
never
me
hear
to
my
check on
voice.
these ground kids.
Well, you know what I said?
You ain't never gonna hear my voice.
In the song, I said, you haven't called me in 8 weeks. I know it's supposed to be a two-way street, but you're the adult, so you're supposed to take the lead.
Yeah, 100%.
And I wholeheartedly believe that.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I'm the same way. Like, I can't imagine going 8 days without talking to my kid, let alone 8 weeks.
Yeah, my
I don't care,
mom
whatever
always
age.
says, this goes back to what we were talking about earlier about like these narcissistic boomer parents. My mom's like, you never call to check on us. I'm like, you
I got
never.
mom.
I'm a single dad with 2 little girls. You never call to check on them.
Yeah.
You never asked me if we're doing okay.
How they doing? Yeah.
I got my own kids.
Right.
I'm checking on these babies. You can check
Why
on
do
me
you
if you want
assume
to.
I'm doing better than you?
Right.
I'm in the thick of it with kids,
with
Right.
kids.
babies.
Yep.
Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? I can't
Wicked.
even use the bathroom without them sitting outside the door waiting for me
Talking
to be
to me,
done.
man.
Yeah,
Shit.
and talking to me the whole time.
My son come in there and sit on my lap if I'm in there.
Yo,
yeah.
can I use the bathroom, please?
But going back to like what you were talking about, Zay, is like, because that runs rampant. I did construction when I was like college age, a lot, and that kind of mentality runs rampant through that too, whether it be
100%.
construction,
Right.
mechanic, whatever, any kind of like trade.
But that's the crazy thing, though, right? That's the crazy thing. These alpha bros that we talk to, right? You know what I'm saying? Who you think built the world? Who's gonna build stuff? None of these motherfuckers know how to build shit.
Yeah.
I can rewire a whole house with my painted nails. You know what I'm saying? I can fix an HVAC system with my painted nails. I can swap out a toilet. I can literally frame a house. I have literally built a house from the ground up with help. But you know what I'm saying? But did every aspect.
Yeah.
I can plumb a house. You know what I'm saying? I know, you know what I'm saying? Like how to run the plumbing so that it doesn't back up. Like you guys, you couldn't put together a fucking Lego house. And you out here talking about who's going to build stuff? What makes you think that women can't do it? Because they weren't allowed on these job sites, or because they're treated so poorly and harassed and essayed when they're on the job sites that they stay away from them?
Yep.
Like you guys have set all these parameters and said that women can't do them. Women didn't say they can't do them. Women didn't say they weren't interested in them.
Yep.
You created these hostile environments in which women can't exist in them.
That shit happens every day. That happens with black people too. That's the
Right,
That's
right,
why
right.
I always like could easily relate to it, because I'm like, yeah, that's like what percentage of construction workers are black? It's like 4 or 5%.
Right.
You know what I'm
And
saying?
that's the thing, though, especially when we're talking about like black men, Latin men, you know what I'm saying? They can always identify. Sorry, we had to leave you out on that one, Brett. No,
That's all good.
But they can always identify how like these ideas of white supremacy can affect them. Easily identify it, but can't see, you know what I'm saying, like how these
misogyny.
patriarchal views and misogyny, which are also tools of, you know what I'm saying, like white
Same thing,
supremacy,
yeah.
right, affect women. Can't see it.
It's the same, but because I get what you're saying. It's the same exact thing. So any person who's not white should be, by definition, a feminist.
Essentially,
you would
right?
think
You would
I
think.
think.
a white
But-
man, anybody that's not a white man, not
Right,
even
yeah,
just
yeah,
not white,
yeah,
anybody
yeah,
that's
true.
not a white man, without a doubt, you should be like an
Or
extreme raging.
Or you don't want to
feminist.
call you don't like that title, whatever.
Whatever.
At
A
least
womanist.
like women.
Yeah,
Yeah, a womanist.
Respect women.
Right.
Yeah.
you would think, but nope. That's the
Because
yeah.
you can't see that it's the same thing. Someone's being mistreated based off something they have absolutely zero control over.
Zero
just
control
the way they
over.
were born.
Yep.
Skin color, gender, whatever.
There it is.
And,
But
yeah.
gender you can change.
But that's a fact.
Like, gender you can
Because
change.
so we're not talking about sex.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? But yeah,
Gender,
gender,
you can change,
Gender,
yeah.
you can change. It's not even a thing. It's not honestly a thing.
I literally know people that if you saw them 20 years ago, you'll be like, oh, that's Sally. And then you see them now and their name is Saul. And you're like, and they look like a Saul.
right.
I'm looking like, you know what I'm saying? I've never seen a black person turn into a non-black person. Not even Michael Jackson. He still looked black.
Try. Sammy
Michael
Sosa,
Jackson still looked black.
Sammy Sosa tried to change.
Sammy
his skin
Sosa.
color.
Oh,
looked like
that
a-
was sad.
Sammy Sosa looked like he looked like a white black person. Like he just looked like he just lost all his, he looked like exactly what happened to him. He bleached his skin. He
Right.
looked like a black person. Like his phenotype was that of a black person. So it's nothing like there, the gender, the race thing, it seems like it would be easy for people to connect those dots one way or the other. Cause I know a lot of white people that get race to a certain extent. But then white men, when we start talking about gender, they be like, what?
Right.
What? These women? I'm like, yeah. Yeah, the same. The thing that blows my mind is when you listen to how people talk about women on the internet, I'm like, you couldn't say that about black people. Like a professional an actor or somebody that, you know, had a job, let's say, right? Like a career. You could not get on the internet and say the stuff
Did you say about women?
about women, the
About
things
another
they say.
race or
You couldn't-
ethnicity.
When Cam Newton made that little one-off little statement a while ago
Right.
about women when he was playing, I remember he said he laughed when the woman asked him a question, and then he was like, and I think she
cute or some shit like that.
something
Yeah.
like that. Or I just, you know, it's crazy listening to a girl talk football or something along those lines.
Right,
Right?
yeah.
Okay. The only thing that happened to him was Dannon dropped him. Right? The yogurt people,
Yogurt,
they dropped
yeah.
him. NFL didn't do shit. He didn't lose his job. You know what I'm saying? Like, he lost a little bit of an endorsement. But if a white player got up there and said, yeah, you know, I just don't feel like black people can play quarterback because, you know, the mental, it takes, you know, or it's cute watching Lamar Jackson play football, play quarterback because, you know, black people playing quarterback, you know, something like that. What? 6
Right.
games, 8 games, indefinitely.
Right.
We got to go
It's the
talk about
same
this.
exact thing.
But it's the same it's the same thing. So you just see how we don't, as a society, we don't take
Value women.
we just don't take misogyny seriously.
Yeah.
We just don't.
Because we don't value women.
We don't value women, at the end of the day. But we don't. But the reason why I'm saying is because when you talk race, men are involved. Like when you say something about a race, like about black people, that's men are included in that.
Right.
So there's a little bit of a like, oh, men get hit there too. But when you say stuff about misogynistic stuff, only women get harmed by that.
Right.
And then, you know what I'm saying? In theory, it's like only women get harmed by that, or only feminine presenting people, even if it's not a woman, it's a man, that if your nails are painted, you know, we don't care about them. Because anything that's attached to femininity, fuck them,
Yeah.
right?
Because they don't like women.
Because they don't like women. It's all going back to, I don't like women, I don't respect women. So, you wore a dress? Fuck you. Because
Right.
you know what I mean? And that's also why they hate like homosexual men, because the most feminine thing you can do is sleep with the man. If you think, you know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
the number one thing you can think of is like what women would do is like, oh, they would sleep with the man. Right? Not cooking, not baking, no, it's sleeping with men for sure. So if a man sleeps with another man, you have crossed every single line.
Right.
And we got to do away with you. We got to destroy you. Because we can't stand women that much to where we're like, you're a man that did it, fuck you. Nah, you got to go. That, when you
It
talk,
almost sounds like they hate themselves.
Well, you can. I mean, you have to hate yourself. If you hate women, you hate yourself. You know what I mean? Like ultimately, if you think about it, you know what I mean? Like that's what I was saying before. Because it's a human thing. You know what I mean? Like if you hate women, you really just don't like humans. That's your problem. So you ultimately do hate yourself. That's why it's easy. Misogynistic men also hate kids. They don't only hate women. They hate kids too. They hate old ladies walking across the street. They just don't like people. You've never met a nice misogynistic man.
Right.
No,
You know
it's
what I
not
mean?
like they
Like-
just don't like women. They don't
like nobody. They don't like anybody.
Everybody.
That's the thing. Like that's what I be trying to help people understand. I'm like, yeah, it manifests itself in a different way. Don't get me wrong. But ultimately, when you really dig at it, when you really get to its core, you just don't like humans.
Yeah, but there's tons of misogynistic men that marry women, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Have children. You know what I'm saying?
And they abuse them.
Yeah.
That's my proof. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, they get married and they have kids, and then guess what? They're neglecting, they're abusing,
Whether verbally or physically, financially.
It don't matter. They're abusing the people no matter what.
Right.
You don't know a nice misogynistic man.
You really don't.
You don't. You don't. I pray. If y'all can find one, if anybody, you find one, let me send a text it to me. I'll look them up because I don't know one.
That would be the
I don't
most
know
wild
what.
thing ever. You find
Right.
this the
Kindest
sweetest,
dude in the
nicest
world.
dude, but fuck women.
Yeah,
I hate them.
bitches. You be like, what?
Whoa.
Hey, buddy. What?
All right.
Big old charming smile on him.
Yeah. He's so nice.
Helping the old man across the street.
Man across the street. It's
Watch
just like,
out, old lady.
but the old lady was standing with the
Yeah.
old man. He knocked her down,
Watch
kicked her.
out, old lady.
Stiff arm out from under.
Heisman stiff armor. Right here, buddy.
Yeah.
I got a little boy puppy.
Just gender loyal. Just love me some
That's
men.
crazy. Also, you don't. That's why you ain't never met a nice racist person.
Right.
True.
Never. You would never. Every racist person, man specifically, is also misogynistic.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Every single
They
one.
go together real well.
100%. You can meet a misogynistic person that's not racist.
That's
Right?
a fact.
You can meet a misogynistic person that's not racist, but you will never be able to meet a racist person that's not misogynistic. I promise. I've thought about
He's
this
out
for
there testing his theory.
for a long time. I was like, damn,
right.
and let me really think about it. And then when I got to the bottom of it, I was like, I've never.
I mean, they're both tenets of white supremacist ideology.
Same system.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same system.
I get
So.
it. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yep.
How do you support the women in your life when they face challenges both personally and professionally?
Oof. So I'm still working on that. Honestly, that's another one of those things that I'm still working on. So my partner, recently was able to leave, her career that she's had for nearly 20 years. She's a radiological technician, X-rays, CT scans, that type of stuff. And she said, I'm really just done with healthcare. She's like, I've been done ever since COVID-19. But at this point, these healthcare organizations are barely trying to pay anybody, and they want people with all this experience and pay them, you know what I'm saying?
Nothing.
Like, entry level wages. And she's, I'm just not interested. And she's like, I really want to pursue creating social media and traveling and doing media about travel and so on and so forth. And I'm like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's see how we can work that. Same conversation you and your wife had. This is how much
It would
we
cost.
need to make a month.
Yeah.
This is how much we need to make a month for that to be possible. When we hit that dollar amount,
You could quit. Yep.
quit. Right? We did. And she was like, yo, you know what? I'm out. She's like, yo, I'm gone. I see y'all. It's been fun.
Perfect. Hell
It's
yeah.
been fun. It's been real,
Not
but it
those
ain't
2
been real
years, but
fun.
it's been real.
Yeah, but it ain't been real fun. But when it comes to like her going through personal things, I feel the same obligation to fix it.
Oh yeah.
I feel the same obligation to fix it. I'm like, okay, shit, well, how she's upset. How do I fix this? And typically it doesn't have anything to do with me, right? If it does, I'm like, okay,
Let me address it.
Let me address. Yeah, what did I do? You know what I'm saying? Like, where do we go from here? What will reconcile this situation? But especially when it's things that are outside of me, outside of the relationship, outside of my control, I feel this need to fix it. And I have to continuously be reminded that I'm supposed to support her, you know what I'm saying, emotionally, and be her friend and be an ear or ear to listen or a shoulder to cry on, and not, you know what I'm saying, like a superhero. She's like, I'm not asking you to put on no cape. I just want you to hear me out. I just want you to listen to me. I just want you, you know what I'm saying? And that's tough for me to do. Because I talked about it earlier.
Yeah.
I just want to fix shit. I'm like, damn, there's a problem. Let me fix it.
That's true. Yeah, I think as a man, me personally, I don't have a problem with wanting to fix everything with my wife. I don't have that issue. My thing is I've historically not cared enough about what she was going through.
I've been there.
It's been like I'm detached from her being like she's like going through something at work, and I'm like, yeah, that's crazy. Like that's my, you know what I mean?
I've done the same thing.
Yeah, like that's my
I don't
reaction.
know what that is either, but
It's
We don't have any control over that exterior circumstance. Like we don't have any control over what's going on at their job.
True.
And so because we can't fix it, and we you know what I'm saying? Then,
and we're not the problem.
we emotionally detach from it. Like,
am
what the
I
fuck got to do with me? What am I supposed to do? Nothing.
sorry that happened
So
to
I
you.
just, oh, that's crazy.
I think for me, is
Seriously, that's
No,
crazy.
seriously.
That's crazy. That's it. That's
Now
all
what?
you got.
yeah,
But they don't act that way towards
no,
Us.
Hell no.
our
But-
issues, right?
No.
because I don't. It's for me, it's not that. I'll tell you, it's because I don't care.
Oh, you truly,
Yeah,
truly
I like
just don't.
like
you're
just,
check, you're,
I just
you
didn't
don't
care.
You don't care.
For a long time. I just didn't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't like malice.
No malintent.
It was no. It was never like I was like fuck her. Like it was never like that. This is what I had to clock. It wasn't like it was a conscious thing. It was like it was so unconscious that it's not even funny. And but then it was like, why don't you care? You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. But like I didn't care because this is what the misogyny does. So you don't see women as human beings, right? And you don't know how that's going to show up. It shows up differently with different people. But for me, the way it showed up was I didn't care about what she was going through. It just emotionally, it was like, I don't give a fuck about that. Like that's her problem. I'm like a boomer. That's what it's that's narcissism, right? It was just like my problems are bigger than hers.
Right. Like I got my own shit.
I got my own shit.
Right.
But she's there helping me lifting all my heavy shit. But when it was time for her to move some stuff around, I was like, you got it. Oh, damn, that's crazy. That chair looks heavy. I wish somebody was here to help you. You know what I mean? Like I'm sitting there
crazy.
on the couch. Like, yeah, that's what I would be on. Like that's what it was. I just didn't know how to be. That's what I'm saying. Like when my wife would say that I wasn't a human being, I just never gave that attention. I just didn't care. I didn't care. And I was so self-absorbed that it was hard for me to like get out of my own space. And I think that men, we get away with basically existing as if we are like our own galaxies. And like you're your own galaxy and you're your own galaxy and we have all of these like planets, you know, we're like a sun even like that. And all these planets like orbit around us. And it's like your wife, your mom, your kids, you know what I mean? Your friend groups, whatever. And everything just rotates around you. Whereas women are like the planets, like even to themselves, right? Like they are always like attending to everybody else's needs and making sure that everybody is good and making sure that you get all your needs met and you're good and you're full, right? And you've eaten for the day. Mm-hmm. And you and whatever happened, you know, when my wife asks me, how did my day go? She really wants to know how my day
Right.
She's not trying to rush through it.
Do you think, I have a theory on that. Do you think it's because women are these, by nature, just like these nurturing beings, right? And so, but do you disagree that women have a nurturing quality to them, or you
I think
can accept
everybody
that,
does.
right?
I think everybody does. I think that we have been socially conditioned
Yes.
to, you know, to move away from that. You know what I'm saying? Like we've been socially conditioned to say, you know what? That's not what men do.
Yes. So this is my point. So we say that's what women do, or
Right.
at least that's what society says.
Yeah.
Women are nurturing. So when you come to them with a problem, if you said, "Hey, I had this crazy story at work and I'm just stressed out," if she were to say, "Oh wow, that's crazy," and give you that same energy
you'd be
that I
upset.
don't
Oh,
care,
we'd be tripping.
you'd be upset because you were
yeah.
expecting
We
her
wouldn't even know how to act.
to give you that nurturing kind of thing.
Yep.
Whereas when she says, "Oh, I had a really hard day," and you're like, "Wow, that's crazy. I don't care," she's kind of like has come to expect that
Yeah.
from men.
Same
Right.
thing.
Because
Yep.
men
Right.
by nature have been selfish, have been the world revolves around me, and so it's like we are just so stuck in this, like, again, these constructs that have been going on for so long,
yeah.
that we've come to expect it from the other gender or whatever
Right.
you want to call it.
I mean, yeah, we've literally been taught to abscond, you know what I'm saying, from like our natural inclination to take care of one another.
Fact.
Like historically, if we look back, you know, societies that predate even, you know, Abrahamic religion and things of that nature, people took care. If we look at Italy, multi-family homes, multi-generational homes, aunts, uncles, grandma, grandpa, everybody lived in the same house. That's why in these countries, still to this day, because they still practice that, people live until like 96, 97 years old. Like they have some of the oldest people in the planet because they take care of each other. Everybody in these small little towns are taking care of each other. But here, it's rugged individualism.
Yeah.
And they've taught us that from the beginning. Oh, don't worry about that. That don't have nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
Mind your own business.
You
That
get
baby-
yours.
Yeah, one of my
Yeah.
favorite sayings of all time is that baby ain't my baby.
Right.
Know when to just be like, that's not my problem.
Right.
And we do that very well in
Yep.
America.
Yeah. And that's one of my biggest issues when we talk about, you know what I'm saying, society. I'm like, how could you look at a child that you know is starving, you know doesn't have access to medical care, know doesn't have access to education, and say,
Fuck it.
how could you do that?
Not mine.
How could you, with good conscience, how could you do that? And then call yourself a Christian on top of that.
That's wild. Or you, yeah, I was gonna say or a man because
Right, you're right,
Yeah,
right.
same thing.
No,
I'm
but,
like-
but you're right though, and that's a good point because you're the one who created this idea of what a man is.
You're not providing or
You're not providing or
protecting
protecting.
Yeah.
that little child.
Yeah, that's the
just
weirdest
because it's
thing.
not yours.
Right, you're not providing or protecting.
Is there a cap? Like it's kind of like in you mentioned the religion, right? Like in the Bible it says, "Thou shalt not kill."
right?
Right? Okay. There's no caveat. As far as I've read, and I read the Bible front to back several times. There's no caveat in there. It doesn't say thou shalt not kill.
Except for when-
chicken, thou shalt not kill. And here, you know what I'm saying? It just says thou shalt not kill. Okay. If you're a provider protector, where's the caveat?
Right.
I only provide and protect for my family. Is that the caveat? Because I don't hear that caveat when y'all say. Y'all just say men are supposed to
Protect and
provide,
provide.
and I'm like, so shouldn't you do that for the community, or does
Right.
that only work?
Where does that
for,
stop?
It should.
Where does it start?
It should start with everybody, and it should stop when you can't do it.
Right.
Like if you can't do it, you can't do it. But like when they talk about protection, if somebody ran up in here with a gun, I'm not RoboCop.
Neither am I.
I'm not jumping in front of no bullets.
I'm helping
not,
everybody get out the house
That's it, as fast as I can.
quickly.
That's what I do. If somebody knocked up, God forbid, and knocked you to the ground or hurt you, robbed you, or something like that, I'm not about to chase after a robber. Even I'm fast as fuck. I can probably catch him. I'm not about to chase after them though. They got
I'm
your
gonna check
wallet.
see if you're okay though.
Yeah, and I'll call the police for you right,
Right.
now.
And if you need a ride to the hospital, I'll take you there.
I got
too.
you there. I'll
Yep.
do all of that stuff,
of that.
and I feel like that's also protecting, right? But I'm not about to go. I'm not about to risk my life for your property.
Right.
And I'm not about to risk my life for a stranger, generally speaking. I'm not saying I could never see a situation where I do that. It might be a reflex even, I'm saying. But
Right.
like I'm not gonna like consciously just risk my life for a stranger, right? Like I'm not gonna do that. But I'll do everything I possibly can to help you in that
Right.
instance. And I don't know like what is so hard about doing that for men. Because men, we struggle with that.
Right.
Women seem to not struggle with that
Nope.
so much. I know they protect first. I
Women
know
are
they're
more
the-
likely to step in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? In these dangerous scenarios, especially when it's other women
Yeah,
involved.
oh, for sure.
Yeah,
Women
than
and
men
children,
are.
they jump up.
Which is crazy. And you see the videos and you see all these men standing around. And I'm like, hold on. Why is the woman the only one?
Jumping up, risking her life
Yeah.
against a man. Because even with or without a weapon, her life is at risk if it's
Right.
if it's a man involved most of the time,
Right.
right? But for a man, it's like if you don't have a weapon, I mean, at least it's a fair. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's close to fair. Like you could defend yourself. You could, especially if it's you and somebody's robbing you, and I jump in. That was 2-on-1.
Right.
See what I'm saying? Like in that way, right? They won't even do for a woman. No, they won't. They're just like, oh yeah, she's getting her purse snatched. Help!
You know what's funny is I used to be that guy that would step in things I had absolutely nothing to do with. And my wife was really instrumental in being like, stop.
Yeah,
You're
I'm
gonna-
that guy
you're
too.
gonna
I'm,
get
I ain't gonna
You're
hold you.
gonna
I'm
get
that
yourself
dude.
hurt
Yeah.
doing something, protecting somebody that you don't even know.
Right.
But I told myself the only time I will do it is I won't defend a man that I don't know. Because
Oh, hell
I'm not
no.
putting myself in harm's way.
Yeah.
But if it's a child or it's a
Or a
woman,
woman, yeah,
That's
yeah.
when that's when to me that's when it's time for me to step in and do my civic duty and
But
and help
aside from
person.
that, why isn't it everybody? When you see it's a wrong,
Yeah.
you see a
Why are
harm.
you the only
why
one
are
doing
you
it?
the only?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why should you be the only one doing it?
Yeah.
Why
If you
isn't
get
it
3 men to do
yeah,
it, it's-
exactly. That's exactly my
over in 2
point.
seconds,
over
yeah.
quick.
That's exactly my point.
Yeah.
And that's what I think one of the major failures in society is that, you know, either somebody wants to play the hero for self, you know what I'm saying?
Gratification.
You know what I'm saying? Self-aggrandizing or whatever. Or, you know, or nobody wants to step in because it's not their problem.
Well, see, that's one thing. So the sorry, excuse me.
You're good.
The one thing that the red pillars do, or they call out or try to call out sometimes, is people that jump in for, they call them the white
White
knight
knights.
syndromes, right? So white
Right.
knight syndrome. What do you guys think about that?
That's just they try to very extremely misogynistic men want what they, like I said, they use protection as a racket.
Right.
Yep.
So they cannot have any group of men defending women
Right.
whatsoever.
Right.
Because one man defending a woman makes all of them look
Worthless.
bad. It makes all now the mirror instantly gets put on him because why can they do it but you can't?
Right.
Why can Jones do it but Pub can't? You know what I'm saying? Like that, and that's because that's common sense. Like what the fuck? What's so different about you and me? You know what I mean? So they have to shame the men who are willing to step up, right? Just like they're gonna
Shame them until they stop doing
until
it.
they stop
Essentially,
doing
what they
it.
want.
Yeah. And it takes for a certain group of men to have enough wherewithal to be like what Brett's saying, I don't care. I don't want to be your friend. Like I know that you guys are weird and you guys are losers or whatever, however you know, whatever. So I don't care about your validation.
Right, but also, why do you want women to be like? It's almost like they want women to be punished. Like they feel like women
They do.
deserve this shit.
100% they do.
Right.
For existing. And for not acting in accordance to what they think.
What they think, how they believe
should
women
act,
should act.
yeah.
Not dressing the way
Not
they believe they
dressing the
should
way- yeah,
dress.
yeah.
Not speaking the way they believe they should speak.
Not staying with abusive men.
Yeah.
That's their thing. Like they'll call a man that is willing to be a stepfather a white knight. I'm
Oh
like,
yeah, absolutely.
I'm like, what?
Yeah, I can't believe you paying for somebody else's kid. Well, hold on, bro. Like they came together.
What?
That kid's in my house.
Right.
That's my
And I like the
responsibility
kid.
to take
But
care of
also-
that.
And the kid's
But I
dope.
just like the
Yeah,
kid though.
yeah.
Like I pay for the kid. I like the kid. That's a
Right.
cool kid.
Like
Like
good
what
kid.
you?
Like the dude the other day on my live was complaining that he paid child support for a child that he believed was his
his.
for like 13 years.
Oh yeah.
But he found out it wasn't his. And he's pissed off. I'm like, what you mad about? Wasn't he my kid? I'm like, do y'all still have a relationship? He said, no.
Oh, he cut the
Why?
relationship off.
Why?
13 years, bro.
Oh, come on.
Wow.
Paid child support the whole 9.
Okay. Maybe I wouldn't stop paying, but let me say I could wrap my brain around
wouldn't
not
stop
paying.
paying.
I wouldn't stop paying, but I'm just saying, let me say I could wrap my brain around not paying, right? Why would you not have why would you quit the
What
relationship?
changes? Yeah, nothing changes.
I don't
besides
understand. What
fact
did the
that
kid
that's-
do? Ownership. Damn. So adopting a kid, because that's the same concept to me. So if you adopt a kid, they don't believe in adopting kids. They just really don't like people, man. I'm telling you,
That's
man,
what I'm
it always
saying.
comes back to that. I'm like,
It's
damn,
people.
y'all don't like
It's people.
kids. Y'all
So
don't like
I
women.
have one of those, right? So I had not I have a stepchild,
Okay.
as well, and I couldn't possibly see. I don't even call him step.
Yeah,
Right,
you're doing
right,
it right
right.
now for the
I don't
yeah,
even-
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
even
for
call
the
him
viewers.
step.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
my son.
Yeah,
That
that's
is my
how I am,
son.
yeah. I don't even know
And
about
when
that
I
shit.
introduce this child man now,
Yeah.
but when I introduce this
That's
person,
my son, yeah.
this is my son. I don't
Easy.
even call him step. I don't
Yeah.
like step. This
Yeah.
is my son.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there are times where I even introduce him to people. Oh yeah, I see the resemblance, and we'll look at each other like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
Right.
The
mannerisms-
mannerisms might be. It depends on how long you was in his life. He might have picked up some of your,
Oh, I
quirks
see
or
the
whatever. Yeah.
resemblance. Sure.
Yeah.
They got the same last name.
Right. Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Sure, but I couldn't possibly see a moment in this child's life where I would ever like, nah, get away. Like, come on, are you kidding me? Like,
That's
why would you
weird.
ever? Yeah,
Right.
Crazy.
Yeah, like how could you? Even if me and his mom were not, I'd still come around. I would still like, yo,
Right,
this
right,
is
absolutely.
my son. This is my son.
That comes back to like pride and ego,
Please.
though.
100%.
His ego just got absolutely smashed on.
100%.
And because some woman basically lied to him
but-
for
but-
13
I don't even
But
know if
here's
the
the
lady
thing, though.
lied to
Or she
him.
didn't
You don't
even-
even know. She might not even know.
She just didn't know.
But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, though. What difference does it make if said being was created with your DNA? This shit is so arbitrary. You're arbitrarily
super
born.
weird.
You're arbitrarily born to your parents. You was
Yep.
arbitrarily born to your parents. You was
Yeah.
arbitrarily born to your parents. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's like no magical being. It's not like you went and bought this particular child off the shelf.
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
it was yours.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
100%. Yeah, that's a weird concept.
And blood means we've all lived long enough lives to realize, like you were just saying, that blood means absolutely nothing. You
Yeah, it
could
just
have
means
a
that you're-
relationship with a parent, a sibling, a child,
Right.
whatever. If you don't like that person or if they've done something to wrong you could cut them off in a heartbeat.
Yeah, it just means you're related. It doesn't make you family.
That's it.
That's true.
You
Yeah.
choose. Who
I got
you
hella
wanna be.
family.
Yeah,
Right.
I got family for days that don't even look like me.
Right.
Different family. Yeah, I'm 100. Yeah, man. That's it's men not like connecting with our humanity, because if you are a person, then you're like, oh, that's a person like me. That's a kid. That's a person
Right.
like me. I want to take care of that person.
Right.
Easy. Like I don't know. I don't even I
Like
don't get it.
imagine you see a toddler walking down the street that's clearly like alone.
Distressed. Yeah.
Yeah, and in distress.
Yeah.
And you're like, not my toddler.
That's a
Kept
weird
it moving.
That's a-
That's
Bro,
a
that's crazy.
weird thing, man.
Crazy, bro.
But I know people that would do that too.
You know what's
100%.
funny? So
Can.
this past weekend, my wife and I and another family went to a pumpkin patch, and there was a boy. He was
I love a
probably
good pumpkin
6.
patch. I don't know why.
Give me all the pumpkin patches. And only problem is we're in Southern California and it was like 90 degrees.
right.
I'm like,
As
what?
shit, yeah.
Well, it's too hot. It's October. And so there's this little 6-year-old boy, and I'm walking up and I see him. He's by himself and he's crying. He's stressing. He's hyperventilating down
Right.
here.
Yeah.
And I'm like looking around, like, hey buddy, is where's your parents at? He had no clue.
Right.
And so I'm like, shoot, okay. I call my wife over. I'm like, my name's Brett. This is my wife. I'm like, you're gonna be good. We're gonna find your parents. Like they didn't leave. I guarantee that they're here. We go and find some workers, and we're trying to figure this out. And he's just like, this kid can't get it together. I feel so bad for him. And finally, I'm like, you know what? I heard from somebody on Instagram one time, if your kid ever goes missing, just start screaming their description. And so I was like, what's your name, dude? He's like, Alec. And I just start screaming. And I'm like, this is a risk because people are going to think I'm crazy, but I don't care.
Yeah.
I just start screaming, does anybody know a boy named Alec? I'm like, Alec. I'm just screaming his name. We have an Alec. He's lost. About 20 yards away, this mom pops up her hand like it was like I called her name at a damn restaurant. Like her reservation was ready.
Right.
She goes, oh, that's us. And I go, oh, and I'm over the moon excited.
Right.
And I'm like, buddy, is that your mom? And he was like, yeah. And he takes off running to his mom. She didn't even come over to us. He takes off running.
was
He's
over
so excited. He trips and falls.
Oh, man.
Gets back up, and we're just like, it's slow motion at this point. We're just like clapping.
Cheering him on.
We're so excited. He gets over. Dad comes over, grabs him by the arm, and just gives him an ear. I don't know what he said, but just you can tell he just gives him an earful for wandering off.
And
or
here's
whatever.
the problem with that. Here's the problem with that. That child will spend, like, you know what I'm saying? Because that'll be one of those capstone
Canon
moments.
moment,
Huge moment, yeah.
Them canon moments in his life, you know what I'm saying, that he's never going to forget. I lost my son at a pumpkin patch once. I looked over at my brother. My little brother was probably like 9. So that means he was younger than that. He was like 6. So that means my son was 3. We had just got there. My mom trusted me to take my little brother, who was young, to the pumpkin patch. And I take my little, you know what I'm saying, my son with him. And so we're sitting there. When you first come in, I think you have to get like bands or something. So we was getting the bands. And then I turn around and I'm like, Elijah, where's Quentin? He's like, I don't know. I was like, bro, come on, man. We ain't even been here 2 minutes. I'm looking everywhere. Can't find him, bro.
Crazy feeling.
Can't find him. I am panicking. I'm about to cry. Like I was in full panic mode. He found his way probably like half a football field away, bro. 50 yards, easy. in he's in the little petting zoo area with a goat eating his shirt, just standing there.
Was he nervous? Or he was,
Nope,
Oh,
chilling,
Loving life.
chilling like it was nothing.
Wow.
I didn't grab him up.
Oh,
I didn't
hell
yell
no.
at him. You know what I'm saying? I
you
hugged
grab
him
him and hug him and
I hugged him.
Hug him
I
for
hugged
your
him. I
life.
said, hey, man, you can't just run off like that. You know, you got to hold a hand. You know what I'm saying? You got to wait. Like, you got to chill out. Like, bro, you can't just take off.
I'd have hugged him and whispered in his ear, "Do better."
Do better.
But it's but you're right though. Those are moments though that they will remember forever.
Right.
And it's just so wild to me that not only again I don't know about those white knight. I certainly didn't do it for recognition. I did it because this kid seemed like he needed somebody to help him.
Yeah,
Right,
of course.
right.
And that's just my heart. And so these parents though didn't even like wave, thanks, nothing.
They wanted to
And I'm
lose him.
like, what? It doesn't make any. It makes no sense.
Joe
to
Dirt.
me.
Joe Dirt type, man. I'd have called CPS
Bro.
on the strip,
Immediately.
like, man.
It makes no sense though how you could do that. And then that same day we were on the little tractor ride. Little same age girl, like 6-7-year-old girl, hat flies off. One of my buddies I'm with jumps out of the tractor to go get the hat because they wouldn't stop the thing. Goes and gets. She's just bawling because her hat fell off. And we again save the day, just being
Right.
nice people.
Yeah.
Right.
And we get back to the thing, and her mom wasn't even with her on the damn ride. She was waiting for her back at the station. And so we get back and we tell her the whole story, and she's crying and she's like, "Oh, she lost her hat? That's crazy."
Man,
No,
man,
thank you.
Parents
no,
don't be caring sometimes,
nothing.
man.
You know, the first thing that comes to mind when I hear those stories, you know what you're experiencing right there is what I don't know, but I mean, I'm speaking for myself. Those moments are when I look at it and I'm like, that's privilege. That interaction that you're feeling right there, when I get that interaction, that's privilege. So the fact that I just returned your child to you and you didn't even say thank you, you're supposed to return my child.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
You're supposed to return my child.
Of course
Right.
you did.
Right? And of course you did.
Right.
And when you returned my you gave the hat, she lost her hat and you gave it back. Of course you're supposed to return
That's
that.
a child.
That's-
Damn straight, you better go get her
You're
hat.
supposed to my kid. You're supposed to return my child.
That's crazy.
You
That's a
can- you
weird
can go
privilege to
now.
have.
Very
No,
true.
it really is.
That's
though.
a weird.
But no, I mean, but you're getting that, but it's odd that you would get that, right? But people like me, that's the interaction all the time.
Did you know that they say
You know what I
that-
mean? And it's odd that that's.
Uh-oh.
No, that was.
Did you know
I'm
that
on
they
silent.
say that if you know what I'm saying, like your child goes, they tell children if you go missing
Look for a black lady. Yeah,
on a black woman.
yeah. They putting that labor
that
on
makes
black
sense.
women per the usual though. I
That's
talked to a lot of
crazy,
black
bro.
women. They was like, "Don't come find me." Like they was like,
like,
"You always need me to do something for y'all."
Like, that,
Like, I was like-
always.
I
that
said-
baby ain't my
Don't
baby.
I said,
Another
respect-
job.
She gonna do it though, but I was like, that's what they told me, and I said, you know what? That's actual. See, that's why I gotta talk to them because they be telling you. I never would have thought about that. I was thinking like
Another
it was like a.
job.
I was thinking it was like oh, see, black women don't. You know what I'm saying? Like that
Right.
type of shit. Black women got on there and was like, y'all always need us for something.
Right.
You
Right.
always need us for something, but
We
you ain't
need
never
your
there.
vote. We need you.
We
Right.
need you, but y'all ain't never there for us. And I was like, yeah, damn, they right again.
Did you answer the how do you support women in your life when they face challenges?
No.
I lost track.
No,
now.
you didn't.
Okay,
Yeah. All right. So that
we
and
need
then
that
we-
more
and
from
then
you. So
and then
how do you
and then we-
support?
yeah.
How do you support women in your life when they face challenges, both personally and professionally?
Well, the two main women in my life are my wife and my daughter, and they're obviously both very different. My daughter, when she needs me, I'll drop everything in a heartbeat, and which is crazy. Like the love that I have for her is a love I've never felt for anybody else in my life, including my wife. So for her, I'll show up in whatever way I have to, in any way to make that girl feel better, to make her feel safe, to make her feel comfortable. And then with my wife, I'm kind of similar to Pub in the sense that like, yeah, sometimes I just don't know how. I don't know how
Right.
to help. And so and I try, and I'm like you too, where I'm like, okay, this is a moment where I can tell she really needs me, and I really want to be able to help and care. But yeah, sometimes I'm like, damn, I just don't care that much.
Can I
about
ask?
this.
Can I ask y'all a question? Though? Can I ask y'all a question?
shit is terrible.
Like, this is just something that I recently started doing, right? But like, how about like, what if we? Hey, do you need me to listen?
Like just act, but then
Or
that's,
do you need me? No, like in this moment, do you need me to just
no, I'm
listen?
saying ask the woman, but then,
Or do you need me to fix it?
but here's the thing though about that. So
Now you're giving them another job.
you giving them another job. It's the labor, man. I'm telling you.
Right.
I
No, it
promise-
is.
labor.
Man, the more I talk to my wife about that shit, the more I understand it. And
Right.
I'm like, damn. So because this is what I ask men all the time. I ask men, when did you have to ask your wife to do anything? That's all I want to know. When do you have to ask your wife to do anything?
Right.
I can't think of the last time. And I'm saying like, I told her that we were coming here, so I needed her to pick up the, that type. I'm saying, but when it was like her role, let's say, like whatever her task, whatever it is, I don't have to ask my wife to wash clothes. I don't have to ask her to do dishes. I don't have to ask her to pay attention to me.
My partner will just show up at my house some days when she knows that I'm stressed out or I got a lot going on. Like one time she showed up to the house, she's like, "Oh, I'll watch the girls for
And
a
just
little
start
bit."
helping. Yeah.
And just start like, no, bro, I left out real quick to run an errand, came back, whole house clean.
See what I'm saying?
Beds made, you know what I'm saying? Kitchen, all the dishes done. I'm like,
Yeah. Productive.
didn't have to ask her, didn't ask for nothing.
Yeah.
Bring
And how do you- and how can you
bring an
not like-
organization to your life when you needed it.
Right.
Yeah.
And how can you not like women?
Right.
Doesn't make
tough.
any sense to me.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Break.
All right. Yeah, my ear.
That was a good session.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Okay. What role do you think men should play in advocating for gender equality? We're going to start with Brett on this one. What role do you think men should play in advocating for gender equality? That's the question that we got. That's what they wrote in.
Wow. The role that men should play in gender equality. I think the first thing that men should do is just shut up and listen. I think we go a long way with equality by just letting women live the lives that they want to live, have the rights that they want to have, and control their own bodies. And yeah, I think get out of the way a little bit. And I think we've kind of talked about men being selfish, and men being, feeling that they need to protect and provide and be in control and all these things. I think it would go a long way if we would just stop doing that so much and let women tell us about the female experience instead of us trying to tell them what a female experience is all about. They would know.
Right.
The female experience in not only in America but just in the world is not always a pleasant one. It's definitely a lot more difficult than it is for us. And so I think that would go a very long way, is just like listening to their stories and really understanding what it's like to be a woman.
Facts.
There it is.
Right.
There it is.
I think that the role that men should play is beyond like listening. Obviously, I think being a listener is all, but once you get the information, then the next thing is to like impact the people around. Well, first yourself.
Right.
The first thing you do is like unpack your own shit. Number
Right.
one, first and foremost, and then you try to impact like your immediate peer group or friend group or family, whatever it is, right? So talking to your brothers, cousins, friends, whatever. And beyond that, I don't think you really like owe anything beyond that, like talking to people wise. But how you vote, like politically, what you support, what you put your money behind, like basically like you shouldn't be supporting people that actively cause harm to marginalized communities, just in general.
Right,
You know what I mean? So it could be something as little as like not listening to R. Kelly, or it could be something like not spending money with a certain company that is known to be very abusive in nature to women or whatever, right? Like that type of stuff goes a long way. I'm really big on like not putting money in people's pockets that harm marginalized groups of people. Like that's like my oh, you're doing that, and it's just like a known thing. Like no, I'm not breaking bread with you.
So even the smallest actions make a big difference.
Oh yeah, I mean if everybody did the little bit of actions, then the world would be completely different, right? It wouldn't take for like Jones to go out here and like, I got to change the community. Like if everybody just did a little bit,
Right.
it's super easy at that point, right? Like we need to spread the responsibility. It needs to be like more
A
of
group effort.
a group effort as opposed to it being like, I'm the leader and I'm gonna like, it should be like, you do something, I do something, you do something, everybody's doing something. Super easy. Right.
You know what's
Tide,
crazy though?
rising
Is
tide.
we talked about like this individualism, in,
Right, regular
you know, in
individualism,
society. Which we talked about it as a negative thing, but if we would just like you're saying, if everybody could do their part, but like if you have sons, let's say, or even daughters, just the way you raise your own kids,
Yes.
Right.
If everybody would just raise their kids
Yep.
to be good people, you would
Yep.
think by the next generation we would have a
We
bunch
straight.
of really good people.
Right.
We're good.
You would think it'd be that easy,
Yeah.
but
You
I
would
don't.
think.
It's not. But that's a sense where it's like, no, maybe just focus on you.
Right.
Focus on your kids,
Yeah.
and then it's super easy. You don't have to worry about every kid in the world.
But
You just-
everybody has to be focusing on
Exactly,
their kid,
which
and that's
is-
the freaking.
Right.
yeah,
But how you do that, we'll get to that, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
But literally, how you do that is we need to start, teaching culturally responsive and intersectional values within our elementary schools.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason in the world that children shouldn't understand that. From an early age, because they know the difference between, even within themselves, the difference between girl, boy, or, the social, what encompasses or what, that gender looks like within their surroundings, their social surroundings. At 3 years old, they already know.
Yep.
They know that for themselves, what they feel like or what their, gender identity is. And then they only develop that from like 3 to 7. And then by 7 years old, they are fully informed on who they are in terms of gender. Like people think that this is like, oh, you're not an adult until you're 18 or 25. But yeah, sure, you might not be, but you are whatever gender you are.
Yeah, you
by
know.
that. Yeah, you know. You know what I'm saying? Sexuality, I could look back at 5 years old and tell you exactly what I like girls.
Same.
yeah.
What-
Same.
No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
had a
Everybody
girlfriend
was my
when I was
girlfriend.
5.
Thank you.
From the jump.
From the jump.
Yep.
But anyways, to answer the question though, like what we can do as men to advocate for women's rights. I mean, both of them hit on some very key points. One, stop speaking for women.
Yeah.
Obviously,
First and foremost.
first and foremost, like stop speaking for women. I mean, I think that's the major point.
Well, do you think that? Okay. I think that when you say, I know what you mean by that, but I think that men have to speak up for women to other men.
Sure. No, and that's what I said.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying when I say stop speaking for women, right? Like when there's women's voices available
Let
to
them do
speak
it.
on a topic, let them speak on
Yeah.
the topic, and then make sure, right? Because you want to protect and provide. That's
Yeah,
what you
yeah,
say. Make sure that you're providing a space,
Yeah.
where they can do
Making a
just
safe
that.
space for 'em.
Yeah,
Yeah.
making a safe space where they can do just that.
So stop speaking in place of
In place
women.
of.
Yeah, in place of
As
women.
place of
opposed
women.
to
That's a better way of
instead
putting it.
Right, right,
instead
right, right.
of, right?
I think that's a better way of saying
And
it.
because just look at it when we're talking about like Roe v. Wade and stuff like that. There's a bunch of men who made the decision the first time.
Yep.
And there's a bunch of men
Who overturned it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
Right.
So like they're
So men are
making
fighting
decisions.
that battle as opposed to
Women, yeah.
Men
Like
are
women
fighting that
actually
battle, yeah.
I don't even care if they're women. Let doctors at the
Right.
very least, like these ain't even doctors that are making these decisions.
Right.
These are just like random politicians
Right.
that don't know shit about medicine. So
Right.
what are you doing? Like that's weird.
And the other thing that I would say, in terms of like, how we could best advocate is like what you were saying. We need to speak to our sons,
Mm-hmm.
our brothers, our cousins, nephews, the kids that we coach on the team,
Yep.
so on and so forth. Anybody, you know what I'm saying, like in your social circle, you should, especially if you hear these young men or hear these other men, having these conversations. I think that it's our duty to publicly shame them for their behavior. I'm so serious.
Publicly?
Yeah. No, I'm not saying like if they're being belligerent in public.
Yeah. Then I'm all right with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mean that energy.
Yeah. No,
definitely.
meet that energy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? With the same energy.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm not saying like just go out.
Yeah, that's what I was
attacking
like.
men,
No,
but
yeah. But if
Yeah.
you can't pull them aside and be like, hey, like why do you think, why do you think that way? You know what I mean? Like
Right.
do the line of questioning in it. But yeah, if they're out there just being wild, like
Right.
what are you doing?
Absolutely.
Shame. Yeah,
Shame.
I'm
Yeah,
with that.
shame.
I'm definitely with that. 100%.
Shame.
Bring
shame.
back shame for
Damn.
men for sure.
Yeah, there is a school of thought out there that says that there's no longer enough shame in the world for people, right? That people just get away with anything and everything that they want to do, and nobody shames anybody for any. There's a school of thought out there for that, right? That stuff
with
is
it.
just too open, and people just get away with anything, and nobody's allowed to shame anybody.
Shame is
for
a
anything,
repercussion
and
though.
Yeah,
Same as a
I have a
repercussion.
question. We don't have to put this in there if you guys don't, if we don't want to. But I'm
No, you
genuinely curious about your guys' opinion on this. Someone I know, a woman who I know very closely, as kids, I found this out like just recently. As kids, another person, a man who was a boy at the time, around the same age, was exposing himself very, very regularly, asking her to do things, and she never did,
Right.
but because they were family. And she felt very, very uncomfortable, obviously, by
Right.
this. And it went on for years, apparently. And they were in the same house a lot. And I just found out about this, and I'm trying to process this information now. And like we talk about like just letting stuff slide, I'm having a really difficult time. I'm not gonna let it slide, but I don't know how to approach this man and basically be like, what you did was so fucked up.
When at what age did he start doing this?
Like 12.
Jeez.
To what age?
It went on for like 3-4 years, maybe. Just like exposing himself, like just
He
great.
was, he was still a child.
Yeah,
the
he was
whole
still a
time,
child
though,
when he
right?
did it,
12,
yeah.
15?
Yeah.
I don't know if you could bring that up, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that you. I don't know. And here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. This yet again. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of times, we as men determine for victims.
Yeah, how to respond.
Yeah, how, like what you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Our response should be.
Yep.
My wife had to check me. She was like, "Listen, as bad as you want to go to bat for her
Yeah.
and defend her,
That may not
that's
be what they want.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not what she wants."
That's not your story.
and she's like, "It's not. Unfortunately, that's not for you to do."
Yeah.
Right.
And again, so it comes back to like wanting to save or be this
Right,
whatever, and it's
Come to
crazy.
a rescue, right?
I think that I've been in that situation before a little bit. I knew somebody close to me that got raped, and I knew several women that got raped that was close to me, but this particular person was really close to me. They got raped, and I knew the guy, and then she told me like a year after it happened or whatever, and I was like, if I ever see the dude, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna fuck him up, whatever.
Yeah.
I ended up never seeing him again, but that would have been wrong. Like she wouldn't have wanted that.
Right.
I never told her I was going to do that. I was just like,
You
oh,
made
that's
it up in your
crazy.
mind, like,
yeah,
yeah,
but in my mind, I was like, oh, if I ever see him again, I'm like, yeah, it's we getting down on site. So when I talked to her about it like later, and I mentioned that I was thinking about doing that, she was like, you're a dumbass. Like, you know what I mean?
What
like,
is that gonna do?
like, what are you doing? Like, you'd have made things worse for me. You'd embarrass me more. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And I was
exactly,
like,
exactly.
you're right. So yeah, I don't. Yeah, especially I'd leave that type of shit alone. Man.
It's just shit.
Crazy.
Oh,
I don't
I'm
want.
sorry.
I don't want to be Mr. Me Too, but yeah, So I have been in relationships, unfortunately, with two women who have been raped, and unbeknownst to each other, obviously, right? And I didn't know either at the time, and then they both, and I felt the exact same way about both of. Oh man, if I ever see dude,
Yeah,
right? And yes, said the same. And in both cases, again, but that's the machismo, right?
Yeah,
that's
right.
That's the ego for sure.
Ego.
Yeah,
It's
right.
like,
No doubt
oh
about
my
it.
gosh, because you immediately feel some sort of
ownership. You feel ownership of the woman.
Right.
Really, that's what
right.
it is.
Right.
This I guess this belongs to me now,
Yeah.
and all I want to do is take care of it, and all I want to do is make sure that it's forever safe and protected.
Or how
And
dare you
somebody
disrespect me?
You think?
Yeah.
Or how
Yeah.
dare you disrespect me versus how dare you?
Yeah, especially when you're in a
harm
relationship
something
with
that I
Yeah.
love so much.
But it's not. But it's not
No.
even about the love.
I don't think it's
You don't-
love. Yeah,
It's
I don't
not
think
even
that.
about the love. It's about this belongs to me, and you broke
violated.
my toy.
Yeah. You over
think?
because
Yeah.
look, I can tell you without a doubt how I felt. Not in the other scenario, 100%. I'll tell you how I felt.
okay.
I felt like I remember processing this at the time. So this is a different woman. My ex, her sister got raped by a dude that I knew. We went to high school. We all knew him. Went to high school with him. And my ex told me, and I was looking for this dude in the daylight with a flashlight. Like, I was so mad. I was livid. And I remember saying it. When I said it out loud, I was like, what the fuck? I said, how dare he do that to my girl's sister like he don't know me? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he knows that that's my girl and that's her sister, and you violated her like that as if you thought like, oh, I could do that to pubs like peoples, and he not gonna do nothing about it. Like, they don't got nobody to protect him. That's what I got from it. You know what I'm saying? So it was all ego. You know what I'm saying? Like, I loved her and I got love for her and all that. It wasn't that, but it definitely was mostly like me on some like, I gotta whoop his ass because
Right.
But did it happen after
he violated
the fact?
me.
It was
Right.
me.
But did it happen after you knew her?
Yeah, that happened. So me and my ex were together. We were broken up at the time, but we were still like, talking and stuff. And during that time, my ex and her sister went out to a club. They saw old boy and he did it at in the parking lot.
I see.
So we were still together. Like he knew. He didn't know we were broken up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No matter what, he violated.
Right.
That's how I took it.
Right.
Like on some like, yeah, nah, you ain't gonna do that to my peoples.
So what I'm saying is this happened pre
Yeah.
I
Oh,
got
yeah,
with
yeah,
them.
yeah.
So to
Either
me,
way,
it
yeah.
wasn't. So I'm not thinking that it's ego because those people didn't know who I was.
It don't matter.
It didn't.
It don't matter, though.
because now it's your thing.
Yeah.
Now it's your thing. So past or present,
You violated
you
my
violated
thing.
my thing.
So you still feel okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to evolve my thinking.
The other person I'm telling you about, the one that I mentioned first,
Yeah.
hers was before.
Before.
Yeah. So
Okay.
and I had the same feeling. I had the same like I gotta fuck him up. If I see him, I'm gonna fuck him up
Because it's mine.
because that's mine. That's my girl. Like
And because you kind of feel like you've been told that's what you're supposed to do.
yeah,
Right.
for sure. Look, but peep this. So here's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
She tells me that dude did it. Right. Now I'm with her. He knows me. Right. He sees me with her. What is he gonna think about me? Oh, he a punk. Oh, I did that to his girl. He ain't gonna even run up on me. That's what I'm thinking. I'm putting the whole
what
thing
you're
together. I'm
thinking
sitting
all
there
of
The
this.
like,
way we
all this
create
stuff.
scenarios in our head
For real,
that
dude.
are
Yeah,
not
right.
attached to reality.
and nothing. I don't even know if that was gonna happen. But in my
At all.
mind, I was like, yeah, because if I see him and he gonna be
Right.
like, yeah, I did that to your girl. Like, now when she was your girl, but I don't care. Like, I did that to her. Like, damn, P a punk. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, yeah, okay, yeah. When I see him, it's over. Like, I'm going to jail, like for real. And then, but I never saw him though again. It was weird. Like I saw him like a lot before, and then it was at a time like I was moving. He was like a church dude. And I ended up not going to church anymore, so I ended up never seeing him again. But I'd have ran up on him at church, like it was. I was mad.
Wait,
like,
but
I
church
was-
people don't do that.
You must ain't been to my churches, man. I done seen bar fights in
Took him
church.
down and put something in the building
Hell
fund.
yeah! I done seen you. What's the think of the worst bar fight you could ever imagine? I seen that shit happen at a church before.
Somebody stuck their
was
hand
fighting.
in the collection plate, and took out money.
Yeah, I just ran out that motherfucker with a fist full of ones, man. Yeah, they don't care. The church don't care. They brolic.
Oh man.
All right. What are your thoughts on the What are your thoughts on the division of household responsibilities? We touched a little bit upon this a little bit earlier. Let's actually put a question to it. What are your thoughts on the division of household responsibilities?
Like whose responsibilities are they? Well, my thoughts. It should be everybody's responsibility in the home, right? Like I mean the adults or whatever you want to say. My wife shouldn't. I don't care how much you work as a man. I don't care if you work 12 hours a day, 13 hours a day. When you come home, you should still do 50% minimum of what's going on in the house, right? Because if the woman wasn't there, you would do 100%.
Right.
In theory, right?
Right.
If the woman
Absolutely.
wasn't there, you would do
doing it by
100%.
yourself.
You would do it all by yourself.
Right.
But okay, so since she's here, you think you don't have to do any of
anything?
it, or you going
Right.
to do 20% of it? Like no. So
That's a
in
good thought.
theory, it don't matter how many hours you work. I don't care how much money you make, unless you pay for somebody to come clean up your house every day or whatever. You know what I mean? Then fine. I'm with that. But short of that, then you should do half the labor. You should,
Absolutely.
You should clean. Hey, you should clean up after your fucking self. Let's
Yo,
do that.
that's the
least-
biggest part right there.
That's it.
That's the biggest part. The least you could do
It's clean up after
is
yourself.
clean up after yourself.
And
At
that
bare
means-
minimum.
Yeah.
That means washing your own clothes,
Yeah.
folding your own
If you
clothes.
piss on the floor, clean
wipe
that shit up.
shit up.
Right.
Yeah, definitely all that type of stuff.
Right.
100%. All your dishes, clean up after yourself. And if you got kids, how do you not clean up after your kids? You know what I mean? Because your wife is there, you just like,
Right.
oh, I don't have
And
to
again,
do that.
that's just an antiquated mindset of like, well, she's a woman, so she'll do
She's
that.
better at it.
Right.
She'll change the diaper. She'll clean the dishes.
Right.
She'll do the laundry because she's a woman, and that's it. That's the only reason why I think anyone's mind works that way is because you've been told that's how it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
Right.
And as I've gotten older and become an adult and then become a parent, I don't do supposed tos anymore.
Yeah.
That's what you're
Yeah.
supposed to do.
Right,
That's like-
right.
I don't do supposed to.
Yeah.
Because Says who?
Yeah.
And that's what I like to comment when people say misogynistic things or mean things or hurtful things or whatever. I'm like,
Who told you
says
that?
who?
Right.
Who told you
where
that is my favorite
why
question.
do you believe that? Yeah, who told you
Who
that?
told you that?
But here's the other thing though. You know what I'm saying? Like in terms of division of what things should be done, right? Or who should do what thing. I think that whoever is best equipped to do said thing
Yeah.
should be the one who does it. Now if you're terrible at everything as a man,
You gotta
that
get
doesn't
better.
mean
Figure it out.
Yeah,
that
you
you
gotta
get
get
that
better.
part.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you don't get to do it.
Yeah.
That means you get better
You
at
gotta
it.
grow. Yeah.
That you're gonna have to, you're gonna have to step your game up.
Yeah.
But if somebody's the better, you know what I'm saying, cook,
checkbook balancer or whatever.
right,
yeah.
right,
Yeah.
and they have the time,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, energy to
Absolutely.
dedicate to it, then
Yeah.
that's the person that who should do that task. But at the end of the day, whatever those things are, sit down, figure out who's best at what, and then divide those things equitably.
For real.
Have a conversation, right? So
Right.
open communication, which a lot of people don't do on a number of things.
Right.
But I think this is one of those topics where you sit down, like my wife's like, listen, babe, I hate laundry. And I don't give a damn about, I'll do laundry till I'm blue in the face. It's not hard.
I do not like folding clothes, bro. or
I
putting
hate
them
folding
away.
clothes too, but
I'll do it.
I fold all of our clothes because she won't.
Right.
And it's just she just doesn't.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I know that about her. And then also she thanks me for it. And she'll also say in front of my daughter, like, make sure you thank daddy because didn't he do a good job with the laundry?
Yeah.
So I feel the love and I feel the
Appreciated for
praise
that.
and appreciate it.
Yo,
Yeah.
that's crazy. Because us as men would never do no shit like that.
What? I do that.
Thank your wife for washing the clothes?
I think my wife. I think my son all the time. I forgot the other day. I forgot where he did something. Whatever. Like he did something, and I was like, oh, to my young son, I was like, you like that, huh, or whatever, whatever. I was like, that was good, or something like that. He was like, yeah, and I was like, you know who did that? And he was like, no, and I was like, and his mom was sitting right there, and I was like, oh, I remember what it was. My son, he's been having like a hard time like reading to his grade level, right? And my wife, for years, this is like 4 years now, makes him read every night
Right.
before we go to bed. Like she's the person that does that, right? And she does all the homework with him too. And last week was the first time that my son, he goes to the library and you have to read in for the librarian to be like, you can go to your grade aisle to
Right,
get a book
to get a book.
or whatever. So my son read in to his grade level for the first time in his, in his schooling career, what you want to say, right? And he told us about it, and I was like, oh man, you did great. No, I congratulate you. I was like, you did hard work, and I was like, you know who did that for you? You know who helped you? Who did And he was like, oh, and I was like, mommy.
Yeah, no. And that's dope. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is like, as men, we don't do that enough. Like, we don't like show the appreciation for
Yeah,
those
100%,
little
yeah.
tasks. You know what I'm saying? Like, we come home and there's no dishes.
Yeah. Who
We
did the
don't-
dishes?
Baby, you did the dishes? Thank you so
Yeah.
much for doing the dishes. Nah, the dishes is just done.
Yeah, we just expect it.
Exactly.
That's
Like it's
why
magic,
it's funny
like
because
it's
my
magic,
my
right?
wife is because I was home with my daughter for 2.5 years, like because my wife went to work 3 days a week, and so I was with her, and it's crazy because my wife will be like, yo, you did the laundry and the dishes, like that's incredible, or she'll tell my daughter like, daddy did that. And it feels incredible, and we're so quick to just assume that, yeah, of course she did it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like we shouldn't get so much credit for doing like household
Oh
chores
my God, man.
just because we're a man. You're a human being, the same as her.
Right.
Person.
She's
The
not any
person.
better at putting clothes in a washing machine
No.
than
Yeah,
you
that's
are.
the easy part.
I'm better at washing than my wife is.
I'm
I'm a better washer for sure of clothes.
I
than
definitely
she is.
wash clothes better than
I iron better than my wife. I
don't know about that.
I don't know.
100%.
My wife don't know how to
barely ever
iron. Yeah, I'm an ironer. I've been ironing since I was like 6. But
He said, "I enjoy
I'm a
it."
better cook. I think I clean up better than my wife or whatever. She is the more consistent in all of those areas.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But who is like if I'm like I'm going to do that, I'm better than her at all that.
No, I'll wash all the clothes.
No doubt about it.
I'll wash every single piece of clothing.
Yeah.
As long as I have to put it away.
Yeah, I'll throw everything in the washer too, but that's why I don't do it because I know I got to put it away, and I'll be like, man.
Nah, but I do put the clothes away. It just takes me forever, bro.
Same. I'll wash and then put them in the dryer and then fold them and then I'll put all my stuff away right away and then my wife will sit there on the
On the
chair
bed?
for like 2 weeks. Oh, I don't do laundry on the bed. That's a hard no. But I'll put them on a chair,
chair,
and they'll
the
just sit there and
lounge,
I'm
the
like,
whatever, just-
babe, what's up with the and she's got this little pile of clothes I call her purgatory pile because they're not clean, but they're not dirty.
They're not dirty enough to wash.
I'm like, what are you doing with these clothes in this pile?
Wearing them, mind your business.
I might wear those tomorrow. I'm like, cool, I'm gonna get you a little bin, and I call it, that's her purgatory. You can have that.
Stay out her business, Brett. Don't worry about what that lady doing. She got a system over there, man.
I'm terrible because if I get involved in a specific task, I have to have a gadget for it before I actually like really get involved in it. So there was a point my wife took over doing all the laundry now because, like you said, she is more consistent at it. I'll let it like go for a minute because
I'll go buy some drawers.
Right?
I go to Target and buy some drawers. I'll be like, damn, I'm about to be out here
man,
raw dog in the world.
Right.
Right.
Look at all
Give me
this
a
laundry.
pack.
Ooh, Amazon. Boom. Oh, look at 3-pack.
Yeah, 3-pack
That'll
easy.
Give me the Wednesday.
I need it.
I'm glad I'm not the only person that's done that.
For me, we
Deliver
do
by
the
this
same stupid
afternoon.
shit. I don't
Great.
know
That'll
what's
get
wrong
me to Wednesday, right? So, but I took over for a little while when we were in New York, and man, I found this gadget that will like help you fold.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So it's
The
like
board,
that
yeah,
board
yeah.
is like pap, pap, pap.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then your
And I
shirts
think
come
it's
out crisp.
I had one of those for a minute.
Man,
I don't know what I did with it.
and I gave it to my wife. I said, "Okay,
I'm ordering
look.
one today.
Yeah. Oh, those are
Like,
cool, bro.
Man, you
Super
put your
quick.
shirt on it, and then you just it folds side, and it comes out in this perfect square, and you
Yep.
can like stack them nice and neat.
Today.
And
I
I
hang
said-
up every single shirt I own.
Same.
All of them.
T-shirts
They're all
too?
hung up. All
T-shirt.
of them.
Hang them
Everything.
up. Yep.
Shit, back
for the
collar.
You put your
Buy
socks,
and color coded too, bro.
put your socks, you put your underwear, and then you just. And I gave it to her. I was like, "Look, you can." And she was like, "Yeah." And she just started
Let me
folding
just
them like
fold it
normal.
down,
She was
yo.
like, "Get this thing out of here. We don't need none of this."
Wasted money on
Nah,
that.
Waste
for the
of money.
kids' clothes, that would really help me, though. That would really help me for kids'
Waste
clothes.
of
I'm about to
money.
color coordinate the socks, especially. I'm up to like, all right, your white socks, your gray socks, your black socks.
Yeah, and then that way you can't lose socks too.
You get one color.
True.
And
That's
if you
smart.
lose one, no, so what? There's like 20 black socks right there. Just put them.
I tried to do that.
That is
too.
actually genius.
Yeah, I'm
did
gonna
that.
do that.
I tried to
did
do
that.
that. It didn't work for
I got
some reason.
all
Yeah.
black and all white. I got an all
The
gold
same.
toe.
Yeah.
I bought all gold toe socks.
Yeah.
I mean, if you guys want to sponsor, all gold toe socks, white. They're just all white. They
Yeah.
have gold toes. And then I bought all black gold toe socks, and that's it.
There you go.
Like
keep
you
it
just
simple.
put them in the washer dryer. They're all the same. Like you
I
never
tried to do that, but for some reason
ever-
my shit got mixed. I don't know what happened. It ended up not working out.
It
Where
still
does purple
eats 'em
sock
up.
come
Yeah.
from?
I messed up my socks. I'm like, how did you mess this up, dude? I still ended up with like
Where'd I get a yellow sock?
pair of socks at the end of the month. I was like, yeah, I'm
Everybody's
Right.
getting socks for Christmas.
Right.
This year.
Yeah, there
That's
it
good.
is.
I'm gonna
Remember,
try
them,
again.
remember them black socks I promised you? There you go.
There it is.
I think I'm spinning the block on that idea.
Sponsored by Gold Toe. All right. Next question. How comfortable are you talking about mental health, and how do you feel men are encouraged to do so, Jones?
So I talk about my personal mental health all the time. Like those who follow me on any of the social medias will tell you that I'll take a mental break. I'll let people know like, yeah, I'm gonna take a day off. Shoot my folks a message in Discord. Yeah, I'm gonna take a mental day because I know that I need it. But also at the ending of every single show, well, at the beginning of every show, I say, have you had some water? Have you said something kind about yourself? Have you taken your medication? Right? I try to do a daily affirmation each day. But also at the end of every show, I say, hey, listen, check on your friends. Everybody who says they're okay is not necessarily okay.
That's for real.
And it's the ones who tell you that they're okay, oftentimes they're the ones that are not.
The worst.
Yeah. Protect your peace at all costs. If somebody is taking your peace away,
Cut him.
cut them.
Ain't nothing to cut that bitch off.
Yeah. You got listen, you got to cut them. If they're disturbing your peace, let them go. And protect your mental health. And if you have not yet started your therapy journey,
Get on it.
today is the day. Not tomorrow.
Yeah.
Not next week.
I like that.
Not after the new year. Not after your birthday. Today. Start on it today. Because you never know what that one thing is going to be
to trigger you.
that breaks you.
Yeah. That's for real. That's scary.
I had a friend, was it last year? I think it was last year. Father of three, randomly seemingly had the life, had beautiful wife, kids, great job, everything he wanted to be. He was a leader in his industry, very well known, and he committed suicide.
The dude from the Ellen Show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Bro, I was floored by that shit.
yeah, he was
DJ,
Floored. Twitch.
Yeah, Steven. He
Floored,
was,
bro.
He was a friend of mine, and I could not believe that, and that was such an eye-opening experience for me because I used to see him up at Equinox like almost every single day, and then to the point where after he passed away, I canceled my gym membership because I couldn't even go there without thinking about him.
You know, I don't want to speculate. I don't know what was going on. You know what I'm saying? But like oftentimes, right, when like you've spent so much. Remember I was talking about how like when you invest so much of your personality and life, you know what I'm saying, into a thing, and then that thing gets taken away.
Yeah.
It's the breaking point.
I
Right?
mean, that's what happened with the show, right? Because the show got canceled.
The show ended. You know what I'm saying? And he went from being this person that was on television that had a purpose. You know what I'm saying? Not that his children and his family weren't his
Right.
purpose or anything
Identity.
like that.
His identity
but it
was-
became his
yeah.
identity. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? And it's like when you attach your identity to a thing, and then you can't do the thing anymore. It's a breaking point.
It is. It's devastating for a lot of people. I was gonna say too that you mentioned him going to the gym. So to all the gym bros, to all the red pill dudes talking about just work out or whatever, like working out is therapy. It's not. Working out is great. Like you should work out. Working out is good for the mind. It stimulates the mind. I know when I work out, I have more energy. All this stuff. I'm not saying it's bad for you, but it's not therapy. It's not. It doesn't do the same thing as talking to somebody,
Right.
as being.
And it's not even about just, you know what I'm saying, like going in there and belly aching and complaining and crying.
No,
right?
no.
It's about getting the tools
to fix it.
yeah, exactly.
that's-
Somebody saying, hey, like when we were talking about earlier, when I said, when I'm upset, I start going
It's
through a
what you do,
checklist.
yeah.
I started going through a checklist. Is this out of my control? Is this within my control? Is what I'm upset about real? You know what I'm saying? Like start cycling through, hey, you know, 1, 2, 3, what the hell is about now? You remember that?
Yeah. That's like some Angry Ninja.
Yeah.
That's that Angry Ninja stuff.
There's actually, at the time of this record, to echo what you were saying about sometimes how people tie their entire being and their identity to what it is that they do.
Yeah.
At the time of this recording, there's a lot of still a little bit, it's speculative, but there's a lot of information going around about the way Liam from One Direction, the way he passed away,
Liam Payne.
according to a lot of the reports, just a couple of days before his death, word is that he lost his deal with One Republic, and also his publicist dropped him as well, right? And then word is that it wasn't just that he fell from that balcony;
He jumped.
He jumped.
Yeah.
And then the idea was that he was high and he was trying to make it to the pool, right? So, I mean, all of that speculation, you don't know what's in the person's head, and you know but all of this stuff was happening to him, you know, and he was losing everything at the moment, right? So the idea was also that it was suicide, right? So terrible, right? So you're right. You know, what are you doing to make sure that it's not about what you do is not who you are?
Right.
Yeah.
When
Exactly.
when somebody you know does that, and it's like the most unexpected thing ever, you're like, wait a second, you seem so happy. I saw you a couple days ago, and you were talking about getting together and having and just having lunch and chatting about being dads and whatever else, and it makes you look in the mirror and be like, damn, am I happy?
Right.
Yeah, it
Right.
makes you
Because
question
if that dude wasn't happy,
Right.
I don't know what happy looks like.
Right.
Versus, like, I don't know, because sometimes it made me really look at myself to be like, damn, am I
okay?
all right?
Yeah.
I would never do something like that, would I?
Right.
And then when you get down, truth be told, like I'd never really had like a suicidal thought.
Yeah.
Much in my life, and in like a year ago, I was kind of feeling like, I'm like, what am I? What?
Yeah.
I would never do that, but why am I thinking about that?
That's an intrusive thought.
And
Yeah.
it's wild,
Intrusive
right?
thoughts,
and
yeah.
then I started mostly was like career, like wanting more, you know, whatever, and feeling like out of control and not able to like control what you're making and or what you're able to do and how you're able to make money and all this stuff. And then, truth be told, I started doing this Dad Got Bars thing,
Right.
where I was like, I'm gonna write music about my daughter and about being a dad and really like speaking truth. And I just came out of this funk just because of art.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Oh,
And I
that'll
was
do it
like,
every
Well,
time.
whoa.
here's something that I don't think, and I'm so glad that we're having this conversation, right, about mental health. I don't think that people understand how dangerous masculinity
Oh,
is,
100%.
how dangerous the patriarchy is. When you have arbitrarily placed yourself on the top of a social hierarchy and you haven't reached the success that you believe you're entitled to.
It's soul crushing, and it shouldn't be.
And so you're like, well, shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a man. Like, I'm supposed to have X, Y, Z. I'm supposed to have the house in the legacy, which for some reason men think that children are their
Lineage.
legacy. Yeah, the
Lineage is a
lineage is what
legacy.
they mean.
Yeah.
But they say legacy.
Legacy.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm supposed to have the house. I'm supposed to have the kids. I'm supposed to have the car. I'm supposed to have the beautiful wife. I'm supposed to have the 6-figure income. You know what I'm saying? So on and so forth. And, you know, you reach a point where you're like, you don't have any of those things. Whether it's because you didn't work hard enough, whether it's, you know, whatever other misfortune.
Or you don't even really want those things to begin with.
Right. Or you spent no time educating yourself, going to therapy and unpacking. So you can obtain those things because you haven't put the work in.
Yep.
No woman wants to stay in a relationship with you because you're broken.
Yep.
Right. You know, your kids don't want to have a relationship with you
Because you don't show up for them.
because you don't show up for them.
Yeah.
Right. You don't have the job because you be fucking off at work.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Not focused.
Yeah.
Thinking the money just gonna come.
Right.
Because you can't focus.
Well, and then we're in this age where you see everybody's just show, you know, look what I got, how much of it's actually true.
Right.
But, you know, if you're looking at your peers or people who are in the same business as you, it was easy for me to get on Instagram and be like, oh, Kevin Hart's doing another, you know, $20 million movie.
Right.
The Rock's doing a $50 million Christmas movie. What am I? It just makes you feel like you're not good enough. And that's why,
Right.
you know, kids shouldn't have social media when, you know, because then as adults, we can't even handle it. We can't
Exactly.
even handle looking at peers and being like, oh man, they might be miles ahead of me. And what's wrong with me? Why am I not having the success that I want?
Yeah, but
Well,
here's
the
the thing, though. We don't even know if they're fulfilled.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Most
Probably
of them
not.
aren't, though, to be honest
A
with you.
huge lesson right there is that it's number one, it's a highlight reel. We all know that, right? All social media, for the most part, is a highlight reel for sure. Instagram, right? The Insta life, it's a highlight reel. And number two, happiness is a look. With a lot of these people, it's a feel.
Yeah.
It's not a look, obviously, right?
Right.
These people are living their best life, and then tomorrow unaliving themselves.
right.
What the hell, right? Happiness is a feel. It's not a look, people. It's not a look.
I would say I was gonna say that to your point though too, that studies show that if you're more likely to commit suicide if somebody close to you commits it. So that's like really common. So like if you have a friend that commits suicide, then you're more likely to commit suicide than a person that never had anybody around them commit suicide. Really? Suicide isn't like an individualized thing. I know a lot of people think that like you do it, ain't got nothing to do with me. But if you do it and we're close, then it could affect me and it could put that thought in your head when now you start looking at your own life and being like, am I capable of doing, like, you're not doing it because of the other person that did it.
Right.
You're not like so sad that they committed suicide that you want to kill yourself. That's not what's going on. You think about doing it because somebody close to you did it.
But does it make it so then that makes it easier for
It
you?
makes it easier
It's
for you to do it,
it's like,
because now the
oh,
thought-
if they
yeah,
did
just
it,
introduces
then I
the thought
could-
into the first place.
Now the thought is introduced. You never thought about it before.
I
Like
see.
he just said it. That's what I'm saying. He never thought about it before that he can think of, and then he's like,
And then
a
suddenly
year later,
yeah,
he's like,
yeah.
oh wow, where the fuck did that thought come from? Because your friend did it. Somebody you knew committed suicide. So you're like, anybody can do it,
That's wild.
even me.
That's wild.
It's impossible. That's why you gotta, I guess, like always be checking. You have to always like take like stock of yourself all the time. That way,
Self-inventory, yeah.
self-inventory. That
Yeah,
way, like
absolutely.
when it comes up, it's like,
That's what
oh,
self-inventory.
Self-inventory,
you
yeah.
gotta be taking
like,
self-inventory.
Being self-aware is, I think, one of the
It's a
pitfalls.
superpower.
Yeah, it's one of the major pitfalls of men.
oh yeah,
We don't have to be.
yep.
Because
get
we
away
can
with not
walk
being
through
it.
life. You know what I'm saying? Now, if we're going to look at this from an intersectional lens, you as a white man, you know what I'm saying, can walk through life a little more effortlessly than Pub can as a black man, or I can as a black man, or he can as a Latin man. But nonetheless, we can typically walk through life. We're able-bodied, so we don't have to worry about any handicap accommodations.
Yep.
You know what I mean? We're not, necessarily defenseless, so we don't have to worry about random threats.
Yeah. And nobody just about to run up on you.
Yeah,
like,
no,
for
exactly.
reason.
Nobody's about to just run up on you, right? And so for the most part, we can just walk effortlessly, through life. When women constantly have to be, checking their surroundings,
Guard
being
up,
aware,
yeah.
and so so they have to be self-aware. They have to be in tune. And I say this all the time: who knows men better than men?
Women.
Women.
Oh, women know us way better than
Yeah.
way better than we know each other.
And the reason being is because that is their
They have to.
safeguard. That is their protection measure. Like that's how they stay alive.
Yep.
You got to know your predator.
Yeah.
Right.
You gotta know your predator.
Know when your predator hunts and when not to go
Right.
in certain places.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Rabbits know foxes way better than we would ever understand.
Oh yeah,
foxes.
absolutely. And so, you know what I'm saying? Like that's what I think that men need to start working on is being more self-aware, like being more, in tune with their emotions, their thoughts, their
Surroundings.
feelings, their surroundings.
I had a on that same thought. I had this. It's silly now to look back on it. It looks so naive. But when my wife and I first started dating, she's Cuban, and I wanted to take her to Cuba, and she couldn't get the time off of work. But I was like, the flights are cheap. I'm gonna go by myself.
Right.
And so I went on like a 7-day trip to Havana by myself, and it was amazing. It was the first time I'd ever traveled alone. And I liked it actually because I wasn't having to check in with anybody else. What do you want to do? I was just doing anything I wanted to do, and I felt pretty safe actually in Cuba.
Yeah, Cuba's safe, I believe.
And
it, yeah.
it's very safe. They're very nice people. And when I got back, I was telling my wife I got back from Cuba, and I said it was incredible. I love traveling by myself. Like you should go on a trip by yourself. And she was like, "Yeah,
That's not safe.
I can't go on a trip by myself." And I was like, "What do you mean you can't go on a trip by yourself? You can go anytime you want." She goes, "I'm a woman."
Yeah.
Right.
And I was like 29 years old or whatever, I just felt so naive, and I was like, oh, yeah, women can't just travel alone.
Right.
You know what I
I
mean? It was
think-
the first time I ever had that thought. I was like, oh, yeah.
I think women can travel by themselves. I think America is extremely unsafe for women, and I think that certain countries are extremely unsafe for women, but not every country is extremely unsafe. Like what I'm saying is like if your wife can travel in America, she has to move around in LA. She got to go. Like you ain't with her right now. You know what I mean? She's been at work all day. I'm pretty sure she could travel.
But you have to take, like immense precautions.
You do. No,
so.
definitely. But same thing for black people. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
right.
That's what I'm saying. Like if I could travel to Europe, which I have no interest in going to Europe, but like if I could travel to Europe, like as a black person,
Right.
I think a woman can travel to a country that's not as misogynistic as America, because America is extremely unsafe for women.
Right.
So if you can live in America, that's what I'm saying. It's like I would guess that Cuba is safer for women than America is. I haven't looked at any numbers. I'm just gonna
Just off the top of your
off
head.
the top of my head, like knowing what I know about Cuba and knowing what I know about America.
Right.
I would not be shocked at all if Cuba was not only safer for women, but like exponentially, like I would like out of 100 countries, America would be like 35th and Cuba would be like 15th.
Right.
See what I'm saying? Like it would be like a big difference.
said, "Let's look it up."
I would be
Let's
shocked.
go to the-
I would be
let's go to the
shocked
video
if
tape.
Cuba wasn't safer for America than women.
I'm
I
gonna
would be
give you
shocked.
I'm gonna give you the most naive hot take on the planet. I would not want my wife to go anywhere by herself.
I don't want her to go anywhere. No, but I would
That's
be
the most naive hot take in the world.
No,
probably.
that's okay. I don't want my wife to go anywhere.
My wife to
Yeah,
go
if my
anywhere
partner
alone.
was like insisting on going on a trip alone, I would have to. I mean, you have no choice
gotta
but to
support
grant
it.
them the autonomy to do
of
so.
course, of course.
They
You
got
gotta
it. They
support
got to
it.
ask me,
You
but
gotta
yeah,
support it. Yeah.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say that I wouldn't worry.
Of
Oh,
course.
I'll be worried.
Of
Like,
course.
yeah, I'll be worried. I'll be
wouldn't
worried. My
sleep no
wife is at
nights.
work. I'm worried. I'm worried. My wife is at
Netherlands,
home.
Finland, Sweden,
Hugger.
Denmark.
Of
Those
course.
are all the safest places.
Of course,
So
yeah,
that
of
makes
course.
sense.
We know
That makes
Scandinavia.
perfect
Yeah.
sense.
I already knew
I'll be
that.
hugging her, dropping the air tag. Okay, I love you.
Yeah, for real.
Air tag
Just another
down the
thing,
back of the
though.
hoodie.
Another thing that men typically don't think about. You know what I mean? It's just like just in general, just safety.
Right.
Just like just again, the female experience is just so much different But again, like you've mentioned a couple times, I think you guys have a much closer understanding of what that experience might look like.
Yeah.
So let's say somebody like me.
Right.
Yeah, like we could see it from that
relate.
angle. Yeah, I can relate way more. Yeah,
But black men still choose not to do so.
yeah, we choose not to. Yeah, as a group, we literally go out of our way to be like, oh, know what's going on. Like, I'm like, nah, it's pretty. But you know what? I got this. So my wife is the person who taught me about misogyny. Like, she was the person like to actually sit down and be like, this is what it is. She was the first person to call me a sexist. I was like, what the fuck? Like, I know what sexism was, but I was like, why are you calling me that? Like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like, I did the whole, like, what I love when I'm married to you. And she was like, so? Which is one of the wildest concepts to think about.
Right.
A woman gets into a relationship with a man knowing he doesn't like her, knowing he has a disdain for women. This is the average man. This is not the most extreme version of a man. This is the average man. Just the average woman, average man. She knows that he has misogyny. Every woman knows this. Like, I'm not even gonna play a game. Every woman knows this. Not some women, every woman knows this, right? So and then as a black person, I'm like, I couldn't imagine being in a relationship with the person that was racist.
Right.
I couldn't imagine it. Like dating up, like sleeping with her, having children with her, buying houses with her, traveling with her, trusting her. That's
It happens.
No, but I know that does happen. But I'm saying I couldn't imagine that from how my mind works because I deconstructed racism when I was like 10.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been already like, racism is freaking crazy. I fully understand it now. But so when I applied that back to my wife, she taught me about misogyny through the lens of racism. She was like, same way. This was around the same time when we had that discussion about household duties and like I was the provider, and she was like, yeah, but you still need to clean up. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that type of stuff. Around this, it probably was in months of that conversation. Of that conversation, she called me sexist. And I was like, like what? Sexist. So then I'm like, what's that? She explained it to me, and I was like, that's not me. Da, da, da. And we had a few conversations, and in this one conversation, she said, the same way that you like imagine. I was like, she was like, just basically replace you being black with you being a woman. And it's the same thing. And then replace white people with men. And I was like, oh. And that was literally like the light bulb moment. It was just, it's not to say that once that happened, I stopped being sexist.
Oh, of course not.
That's not what happened.
Still a learning
Oh,
time.
I'm still learning. This is my baby. So this is 11 years ago, right? When I started it. And look at me now. In the last 2 years, I finally started to like kind of like really unpack the shit. But at least I knew. At least that seed was planted. At least you know what I'm saying? Like it took for me to selfishly as a man, it took for me to be able to put myself in her shoes. I couldn't do it unless I could relate it to myself.
Sure. Women
can do it because they have empathy. They have empathy. They could just be like, oh, I understand. I understand because I feel where you're coming from. I feel your pain. Okay, cool. Not me. I was like, how will I understand this concept? And she was like, imagine if it was you. And I was like, oh.
Right.
Oh, okay, yeah. I would hate for that to be the thing. The same way men don't understand consent until a gay man hits on them. Right? When a gay man hit on them, now all of a sudden oh my God, that's what? Who are you talking to? You know what I mean? Like all that stuff. But when you do that to a woman, it's like, well, how dare she reject me?
Why is she acting like that?
Why she acting so weird? Or, you know what I mean? It's like, fool, she don't want you. She don't like you. Like, does she have to like you because you like her? Like, it's weird. You know what I mean? So same thing. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I'm happy that I was able to grasp that concept. No matter how I got to it, I'm just happy now that I was able to do it, because if I never was able to do that, I just would be my happiness, I would be less content. I would be less happy. It literally made me like a happier person and a more content person and a more fulfilled person. Like the closer I get to my humanity, the better I feel in general. Like just in day to day, like my day to day thoughts and everything. I'm not negative all the time. I think it's easier for me to be a negative person. I think I'm not always negative all the time. I'm very optimistic. In so many, sometimes I'm not, but you know what I mean? Like for the most part, I'm way more optimistic. I'm just happier just from like not hating women. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
yeah,
just from getting rid of that hate, like letting that hate go.
Letting it go.
And I'm like, you know what? Life ain't that bad. And
Right.
look at all these friends I got now. And, you know what I mean?
It's almost
And
like a burden that's been lifted
it's
off
lifted.
of you.
The hate, because you got to hold on to that
You
shit.
got to hold it.
It's energy that it takes. So you're just like, all right, cool. Because it's an action, right?
Sure.
Like indifference isn't an action. Indifference
Right.
is out of sight, out of mind. You don't give a fuck. Hate is it's like love.
Yeah,
It's
you
like,
actually
try
put,
to hate.
you're actually
try
putting
to hate.
effort into
Yeah,
it.
put effort into hating, and I didn't know that that's what I was doing, and I finally just let go of this shit, and I was like, oh, okay, this all right, this is cool.
Hey, this nice feels nice in here. There ain't no
Feels
roaches
good.
or nothing.
I can breathe, so yeah, I like it.
How do you guys view consent in relationships? And why is that important?
What's mine is mine. No, I'm just
No, so listen, man. This is this is a big thing, right? So I try to have this conversation with men so often. This is one of the things I started with on my platform. You do not own people. That is not your wife is not your possession.
yeah.
Your children don't belong to you. These people are their own autonomous beings. If your child says, I don't want a hug,
Don't hug them.
don't hug them.
Yep.
If your child says, I don't want to kiss, don't kiss them. And the same goes with your wife. You are not entitled to access to her body simply because you got married.
Yeah.
Or even if you're not married.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If it's your girlfriend or you have a kid together, you're not entitled to their body. If they say, I don't feel like being touched right now. I need space right now.
I'm touched out.
Touch that. And I feel that way.
Yeah. Easily. Yeah.
Like I get that way. Like, oof, I don't,
Yeah.
you know,
all
been-
day,
been
man.
a day. It's been a day. I don't really feel like the whole, cuddly, you know what I'm saying, huggy, kissy. I'm not in that mood. But like because you're in a relationship and it takes, we've talked about this as men. There's been plenty of times in our life, and I promise you, we probably couldn't find a man that where, you know what I'm saying, they've been in a relationship and the girl was like, oh no, I don't really want to, and you just took that.
That's just rare. It's so
And
rare.
you accepted that.
It's so
Like, oh, everybody's like,
Oh, you don't? Okay, cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah, but-
rare,
but
man.
That doesn't, yeah.
As opposed to
every
come
man-
on, baby,
Yeah,
please.
exactly.
Come on, baby,
Exactly.
please.
The Pepe Le
Listen,
Pew approach.
every man is like, oh, come on.
Come on.
Yeah.
Please.
No never means no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like that right there, right, is why grape culture exists.
Yes.
Is why grape culture exists.
Yes,
I don't know why I'm
absolutely.
using TikTok friendly words. It's why rape culture exists. It's why it exists. Because, right, we don't just, so it took me yesterday. No, I don't mean
I know
literally
what you mean.
yesterday.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? Even in the midst of us having that conversation, I'm like, damn, I've asked that shit up until my 40s.
Oh yeah, easily. Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah. That's why I don't hide behind that. Cause I'm sitting there
Right.
going like, so you gonna lie and say I'm the only man that does it? Cool. I'll
Right.
be the only man that does it then.
Right.
But
I know y'all motherfuckers is lying.
I know y'all lying though. 'Cause
Right.
I'll tell you without a doubt. My wife says no. Come on. Please. I've literally asked her for an hour type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm thinking it's funny.
In life, you mean.
In life,
Yeah,
I'm saying,
yeah,
I'm saying,
yeah.
like, I'm like, we're in bed together. I'm thinking it's cute.
Yeah.
I'm thinking I'm gaming her up. You know what I'm saying? Like, and she's saying
Get a
no.
little closer.
Yeah, I'm
you're
doing
not,
whatever. She ain't
rubbing
telling me
the
don't
back
touch her,
or
but she's
whatever.
just like, I'm
Yeah.
not like, I just don't feel like it. No, I'm good. And then ain't nothing worse than some here, huh, pussy. Like, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like that. Here,
Yeah.
just take that. Like, here, damn. Like, I don't
Yeah,
like
yeah,
fuck.
yeah,
You be
yeah.
like, you
Well, that was uneventful.
yeah, you like
Right.
do
Yeah, I
it.
need you to
and
be
then-
into
And then you
it.
expect
Right.
her to be into it too.
Yeah,
and
you want her to
expect
fake
like,
it.
you
And it's
want her-
like,
yeah.
and she's
Right.
like, nah, she goes out of her way to make sure that you know that she didn't want this shit.
Right. So, number one, now, if they even show
Yeah.
any,
Shut
you know
it
what I'm
down.
saying? Yeah, any like,
Yeah.
nah, it's over. Nah,
Yeah,
that's
shut
all,
it down.
It's all good.
Yeah. That's easy.
It's over.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, right? And this is something that I like, again, yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
you can't ignore your partner
All day.
all fucking day, 3 days in a row.
That shit crazy.
And now all of a sudden you're like, hey, you're trying to get naked?
Hey,
Yeah.
baby.
Hey, you trying to get naked?
Snuggle up on him.
When she's been cleaning up after you,
Kids.
shit that she asked you to do multiple times, you ain't got it done yet. You know what I'm saying? Wrangling the kids, you haven't really helped. You know what I mean? Asked you to get one thing from the store on your way home,
You huffing and
forgot it. Forgot it.
What do you want? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
shit.
Yeah, she called you on the phone.
Yeah.
Like, yo,
You short
what up?
with her?
Yeah, yeah, you're short. Yeah, and then come home like, hey, let's get naked. And they're like,
Wicked
Yeah.
work.
bro, what?
That's that. They need that emotional foreplay.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
My wife
Like-
hit me with that like 12 years ago.
Yeah.
She was like,
My
she was like,
therapist uses that one.
that's a good one.
My
That's a
therapist
good.
uses
Yeah.
that
My
one.
wife was like, you gotta. She was like, you gotta warm me up all day. She was like, not just that night. It's all day. It's you paying attention to me. It's you being nice to me. It's you talking to me. You know. And I was like, oh, as if that was like a novel concept. I'm like, oh, really?
Like, damn, it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work to have sex with my wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that lot
goes
of
back-
work.
That goes back to what he says.
But
though.
that lot
You
of
don't
work
own anybody,
is what's
right?
going to keep your
Keep it
relationship
going.
healthy.
Absolutely.
And it makes you happier too.
Right.
That's the funniest thing about it. Like you're better off for it as well.
Right.
You know
Well,
what I mean?
and I made a reference one time with a different girlfriend where I was like, it's more difficult sometimes to get in your pants than it is to just go to a bar and find a random girl and have a one night stand.
Oh wow.
And she's like, okay, well then go do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it's like that you could, sure. And that's probably the case sometimes with a lot of men with their significant other where she's like wife, girlfriend, whatever. It can be more work, if you will, to get her in the mood than it would be some random chick
random.
who's out at a bar. But guess what? What comes fast don't last.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I say. She don't have to deal with you every day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's a tricky dance between men and women because I question often like why are men built the way they are? Why are we wired the way
Because
we are?
we're told by society that we own these things, that we're entitled to them. Bro, like we was just talking about earlier, what, 19 when was No Fault Divorce? 1972?
Oh yeah, no fault divorce in the 70s. Yeah.
1972.
Yeah, they couldn't
Women
leave.
couldn't leave a marriage.
Shit. Marital rape got made illegal in the 80s. No, the 90s, 93.
Marital rape wasn't
Marital
made
rape.
illegal until the 90s.
Yeah.
Wow.
Jodeci was out.
Yeah, so right. So I mean these things,
Pac was alive.
Pac was alive.
right.
Yeah.
These things just happened. I mean, like just happened. Right? And so, I mean, we've created a society where we've told women that they owe us their bodies, that we as men are entitled to them, you know, when we want them.
Yeah. And they can't say anything about it.
Right.
And we make the laws that way,
And
everything.
then wonder why women don't report rapes.
Oh,
Why didn't you call
that's
the police?
impossible.
Because the police don't give a shit.
Yeah, they don't
Because
care.
most of them are men. And
And
we
they
told
rape.
men, yes, and they rape.
They rape.
And we've told men that, you know what I'm saying, women are property.
Yep. Yeah, that's all we did. And then we did that, and then we set up the system in such a way to starve them out of like every socioeconomic opportunity, right?
to
like
grow past
school, to
Right.
do anything. So it's like, yeah, why would I, why would I trust that they're going to listen to me? But to answer your question, I think the reason why men, I don't think we're naturally this way. It doesn't make any sense. And if you think about it, it doesn't make any sense in nature for men and women to be this different. Naturally.
certainly
No, not at all.
It doesn't. So I don't think it's. That's why I'm saying that is to me the easiest thing for me to dispel is that men and women are naturally like this because
Right.
it doesn't make sense in nature. It doesn't make sense, right?
Right.
So the reason why men are conditioned to be this way, though, is because men are conditioned to protect the patriarchy. That is our number one function
Right.
in society right now. And it has been for millennia, to be honest with you. But that is our number one function. It is the most pervasive system of oppression is the patriarchy. it's one of the. I think ableism probably was first. If I had to, I don't know about it being documented, but
Probably.
if I just had to guess,
yeah,
I
if
would
I
think
had to guess,
ableism was first, and then
Yeah.
sexism, and then
Yeah, because if you weren't like able-bodied, you were no use to
Easiest thing,
society.
yeah, it'd be like-
You were no use.
Yeah,
Yeah, we gotta
easily.
wheel you around.
Yeah.
No.
As a matter of fact, Hitler himself, you know what I'm saying? When
Oh,
he
he
was
would
going to
kill the kids,
ableism was the first thing he engaged in.
He was like, "You're useless.
Yeah, you're useless. We
You're
don't need
sickly.
you.
Get out of here."
Yeah.
Right. So, for me, when I look at men and why men are the way that they are, or more should I say, why has society groomed men or conditioned men to be this way? I'm like, okay, so what do we actually do? What do men do well? Right.
Right.
The thing I know we do well in society on a day to day is perpetuate the patriarchy. It's perpetuate oppression.
Right.
That's the number.
They were great at that.
We're great at that. By either not acknowledging it exists,
Right.
right? Which is the first
While
step is
simultaneously benefiting from
perpetuating.
it.
Yeah, but yeah, while simultaneously benefiting from it and perpetuating it,
Right.
all at the same time. Like
Yeah.
we're masterful at that. So when I look at like what is the function of men, not how I think men should function, not how I think nature wants men to function, but how do the powers that be, quote unquote, right? The people who really shape our society, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do they want out of men? They want you to uphold these systems of oppression. They want you to uphold the patriarchy, and they want you to be a body for. They want you to be a worker in their factories. They want you to support capitalism.
Right.
Those are the without a doubt. You're I don't care. You could try to convince me otherwise.
Talk to
I'm
a
with it.
misogynist, I guarantee you he's also a capitalist.
Almost in our society, almost every single time.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like he sees people as commodities,
Yeah, 100%.
including his wife
Yeah.
and his children.
It's a lot of
Especially his
these
wife.
like entrepreneur type
Yeah,
dudes.
yeah.
Who online, who you see a lot too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who are out there with this persona. They're in real estate,
Right.
They're whatever. They're
That's the
wealthy
Red
or
Pill
claim
pipeline, by
to
the way.
be- Absolutely.
The Red Pill pipeline is
Crypto.
Is the crypto,
Real
is the
estate.
real estate, is the money guys.
Yeah, finance.
Yeah,
Bros.
finance guys.
Finance
Yeah.
bros.
Yeah, the finance
That's it.
dudes, like those guys are usually the ones that are
Yeah.
perpetuating the same kind of.
It's wicked. And the health fitness, the fitness.
Oh, health and fitness
Health and
gurus.
fitness
Yeah, Jim
guru.
Bros.
That's just
Yep.
crazy.
Jim Bros, yeah.
Now, I've seen that transition a few times, like Instagram, but even before TikTok, like I saw some people and they were like holistic, like I take vitamins every day and I, snort sea moss and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, great. And then I'm like, oh, this person looks healthy. And then like Trump ran and then they were just like, yeah, Viva la Trump. And I was like, what the fuck? How did you
How did you go
I'm
from
like, how the
what?
fuck did that happen? Like, when did that
You mean
eating
the
granola?
Hamburglar?
Yeah, like this motherfucker eat McDonald's every day. Like, what are you talking about? How,
What do you mean?
why do you like this guy so much? But it was there the whole time.
You know who's the worst? Dudes with mics.
Right.
The dudes with the mics are bad.
Yeah. Not too much on the dudes with the mics, though.
No, I don't disagree
not
though.
us, though. No, I'm saying-
I don't disagree. Some people don't deserve to have microphones in front of their face. Some people like,
Politicians.
yeah, facts.
They're number one.
Do you guys also, when it comes to consent, how do you see it? Just to put a period on this, how do you see it when it comes to the opposite way? Because,
From women to men.
well, I'm not easy, right? So the truth of the matter is, when she comes this way, lots of times I'm the one that's like, nah, I don't feel like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
Not tonight.
It goes both ways, though.
I have a headache.
Yeah, for me,
Consent is consent.
consent is consent.
Consent
I
is
don't-
It's
yeah.
consent.
Yeah.
Consent is
I don't
consent.
think a man owes his body to his woman either.
Nah.
But I'm a slut. So I'm, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like my wife,
Same. I don't ever say no.
I'm a whore bag. So whatever she wants, you know what I'm saying?
I could
But-
be tummy ache, headache.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? You say what?
Hey, listen, I will take a cold shower and get it together.
Yeah, I feel
I'm like,
I
I'm
mean, that
ready.
motherfucker
Yeah.
just like, ugh.
If I got to, I will.
I'll be in the mirror doing like this. You better get your shit. Stop fucking playing.
This could be the last time she ever
Right,
asked.
yeah,
You
I'm
know,
about to say, she may never ask me
you
again.
say
Yeah.
no now.
You got 102 fever. You fucking act like you cold,
Be setting
motherfucker.
the precedent. It's a slippery slope. You say no one time, and she's like, "Oh, I guess he doesn't like pussy
Right,
anymore."
no, and then he doesn't find me attractive.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Say no one time she talking about who is she? What's her name? I'm like, wait a minute.
Really?
Wait a minute.
No, that which is
You think I'm fat? You think I'm fat?
Why?
No.
I think you're beautiful.
You got a fat ass.
Yeah, the ass is fat, but I just don't want to right now. I'm tired of shit.
My wife's got that pregnancy ass right now.
Oh, that's the best.
It's the best and the worst, because then she don't want to do shit with it. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, I get it. That baby's in there fucking you up, elbowing you in the
with
ribs and
everything.
shit. I'm like, baby, you want to get on? She's like, no, I want to get this
thank
baby
you.
out of me. is
Sitting
what I
right
want.
on your bladder.
No, thank you. She's
Note to the
uncomfortable.
editors, we're gonna cut that out for the preservation of Brett's marriage.
Oh man,
Yeah, I got caught up talking with the guys.
yeah. Be
Caught up
careful.
being a misogynist for a second. I was just trying it on to see what it felt like.
Yeah. Be careful, man.
I didn't like
We're
it.
gonna
Not too
remove
much.
these red
Yeah,
pills from his.
You dancing way too close to the edge, bro. Flying way too close
I
to
had
the
to,
sun.
Halloween's coming up. I had to try it on to see if I wanted to wear. I'm like, I don't think I like that costume. It don't fit me.
Oh my God.
Oh man.
I looked at it. It looked good, but when I tried it
He
on,
said he had muscles.
yeah,
He had muscles.
Try it on the.
All right.
Oh.
Okay. So, next question. We'll give this one to Brett. What are your views on feminism, and how does it impact your perspective on gender roles?
Feminism is an interesting one to me because I feel like it became like a buzzword or like a politicized word. Because I think the root of it is, I think what's grounded in, and maybe what the root of it is. I don't necessarily know where the word originally came from. I'm sure one of you guys is gonna put me on some game here in a second, but I think it started from a place of women just wanting to be treated equally. And I
Humanized.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, voting rights, the ability
suffrage
to
movement, yeah.
the ability to leave a marriage that's
yep.
not healthy,
Right.
Or safe. And so, I think you may have asked what's the stance on?
Yeah,
something?
what are your views on
Views
it?
on it.
And how does it impact your perspective on gender roles?
I am obviously I have many women in my life who I want nothing but the best for, and so one of them being a little girl, and so I am all about women having the same opportunities as men. I'm all about women being paid what they're worth. I think them being a woman has absolutely nothing to do with how much money they should make.
Right.
Nor does
Paying
being,
more.
Yeah,
nor does
equal-
being
Paying more because they typically are dealing
nor
with
does
but
being a
equal pay for
woman,
equal work.
yeah,
more.
being a woman doesn't affect, like, that doesn't make you any better or worse at a job. It's like,
Right.
it's by a case by case basis.
Yeah.
Let's see how good you are at your job. Now, there's one particular area where I understand because it's economics. I know there's the argument based on the NBA versus the WNBA, right?
Yeah, it's
where they're
different.
like, they need to pay these WNBA girls. I'm like, the league doesn't make as much money. They can't pay them the same amount.
The argument the WNBA is they want the same split. They
That's
don't-
fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they're arguing for. Because in the NBA it's 50-50, right? WNBA is not 50-50. So they want the same split
That's
as
fair.
the NBA.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not asking to make LeBron, like nobody's saying, pay me the same amount you're paying LeBron James. They're saying, pay me the same percentage. LeBron gets 1% of his, whatever the leagues, whatever, I want 1%. Right? That's what they're saying.
Right. Which I'm in full agreement of.
Yeah.
And then also another place where I kind of draw the line a little bit when it comes to I guess you would call it feminism. Maybe is maybe not though. Maybe this is a different topic, but I'll just bring it up. Is I don't want my daughter playing sports against transgender kids because I don't think that's fair. I don't think she should play against somebody who was biologically born a male. And I know that might not necessarily be a well-received,
Yeah.
opinion.
No.
Everybody got their opinion on that.
But that's so like that in almost, to me, and maybe this is ignorant, but to me that almost feels like feminism because I want my daughter to have a fair shot. I mean, I see some girls going up against transgender girls who were born a boy and just getting absolutely smoked, whether it be swimming, track and field, whatever. And that just, I don't know. It's really hard for me because that's kind of a newer thing for our society.
Yeah.
And so I'm not fully I don't know. It's a lot of we have time.
Just so we, and you know what I'm saying, I think that this might be something that we can build on, you know what I'm saying, later on. But if we're talking about like prepubescent children, most of those sports are co-ed anyway.
Yeah, I think baseball. They don't they don't even have girls softball until they're like 12 or 13 or
Yeah,
something
that's what I'm
like
saying.
that.
Like-
Like they all play against the boys or whatever.
Yeah. A lot of those, you know what I'm saying? And then around 10, because like all of the rec leagues up until like 10 years old are mostly co-ed.
Not in my city because I
Well,
just
where I live.
Yeah, I was
in
gonna- I
Florida
think- I
and
think-
in Virginia.
I was
They're
gonna say
both
I think
that
it's
way.
like different places,
Right,
but
right.
because I was just at my son's soccer game on Saturday and I was watching the girls play. They're like the same age as my son. My son's 8.
Yeah.
Right. And I was watching the girls play and I think they were like around the same age. And I was like, man, it should be co-ed. Like I was like,
Right.
soccer should be co-ed.
because
at this
there's almost
age.
no biological difference.
No,
You know what I'm saying?
the girls are a
Pre-
little bit
age.
bigger at that age. That's about
Pre-puberty.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, pre-puberty, there's almost no biological difference between boys and girls. That's the reason why, you know what I'm saying, puberty blockers for children that understand that they are not, their gender does not align with their sex should be readily available. Because
Stop it before.
if you stop them before they, you know what I'm saying, reach
Go through puberty, yeah.
then you
They
know
don't
what I'm
have
saying?
an advantage
Yeah,
at any
then
point
they'll
in time,
never have
yeah.
an advantage at any point in time in their entire life. Now, with that being said, anybody who is on, you know, like when they're transitioning, they have to be on those medications, you know what I'm saying, that prevent them from creating testosterone and so
Yeah.
on and
Oh,
so
the
forth.
testosterone is way
Yeah.
crazy low.
Their testosterone is typically lower
Yeah,
than
it's low as
biological
hell.
females by the time they're able to participate in sports, according to the NCAA rules.
Yep.
In addition to that, they've lost bone density, they've lost
mass.
muscle mass.
Yep.
The swimmer won one meet,
Yeah.
just one.
Trash. They were actually
one.
not that good.
Got burnt up after that.
Yep.
And then like there's transgender men, you know what I'm saying?
Who were women,
born,
yeah.
who were born women that have won kickboxing competitions, that have won boxing competitions, that have won weightlifting competitions, powerlifting at that
Yeah.
competitions. So there's not that much genetic, or not even genetic difference, but you know what I'm saying?
Biological.
Like biological difference between a transgender woman and somebody who was born, you know what I'm saying, female.
Female.
In addition to that, we don't even know, because we don't karyotype people, we don't even actually know what everybody's, you know what I'm saying, sex is. We go based on their genitalia,
How
their
they-
genitalia alone. There's people with like PCOS
Yep.
that produce all types of testosterone.
Yep.
Women.
That's why they be hairy. And
Yeah, that's why they
PCOS
get
people
hairy,
be
stuff
yep.
like that.
Periods be messed up.
Exactly that.
Insulin resistance.
So there's not just XX and XY. That's not a thing. You know what I'm saying? There's XX, there's XY, there's XX42, there's triple XY,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
XYY. You know what I'm saying? Like there's almost infinite.
intersex. Yep.
Yeah, there's almost infinite chromosomal variations. But when they come out, we say penis boy,
Yep.
vagina girl, and that's all we know about them, unless we had them genetically tested. So when we're talking about like having men play against women or boys play against girls, when we comes down to brass tacks, very little difference.
And also, I always found this conversation to be funny because it typically is only had from trans women to competing with biological females, right?
Right. And never the other way
It's
around.
never the other way around, and that's the telltale sign that it's still rooted in misogyny.
Misogyny.
Because I'm like, why are you so like you just so if you give a woman a bunch of testosterone, right? I'm sorry, not a woman. If you give a female
Right.
a bunch of tests, right? She'll have a bunch of testosterone.
Right.
He, they, whatever, right?
Yep.
They'll get strong. They'll get big. I've seen it happen. I know transgender people. I know some of my family. They got bigger. They got stronger. They got buffer. All of that stuff. Where's the if they, like you said, if they go compete against a man now, against a biological male, they got just as much test. They got just as much muscle mass. All the advantage. They got the same advantages now. There's nothing different. But nobody is worried about them. Nobody says, "Oh man, we want to protect that biological female from competing against that biological male." It's always the other way around. It's only biological females competing against biological.
Biological females.
Yeah, trans
Competing
women
against trans women.
competing against biological females. That as soon as I saw that, like, because I thought like that too, bro, like on some real shit. But once that was the first thing that made me start to unpack it, because I was like, wait, why do I feel like that? Like, why am I like so like only looking at it this way and not the other way. And
Right.
then that's when it unraveled for me. I was like, yeah, I don't know about that. That doesn't. And then I studied and I looked up on it and everything you said. I was like, yeah, it's not even that much of a difference. So fuck it. You know what I mean? Like, it ain't
And
like,
I think it comes down to, once again, men thinking they need to protect girls.
yeah.
Yes,
That's what
exactly
it is.
that.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly
Yeah,
that.
I know
The
that's what it
misogyny.
is. Yeah. But I'm saying, but on the flip side, you don't want, not you, but whoever, they don't want, typically those people don't want to protect the biological females either. See what I'm saying? Once that biological female chooses to present as a man, they don't give a fuck about her no more.
Right.
True.
You see what I'm saying?
Exactly that.
So if you
It's
were,
my sports. It's my
Right.
viewing experience.
Here's
It's
the
my-
other issue.
Yeah.
Here's the other issue, right? Like transgender people make up like less than 1% of
yeah,
the
there's
world.
not even that many people. Who cares?
Like it's not even
It's a weird hill to die on when you're like,
Yeah, like
it
they
doesn't
don't-
come up that often.
Yeah, I was about to say, like the likelihood of your child playing against a transgender athlete is slim
Doesn't
and none.
exist.
Very, very small.
It doesn't exist.
Very
Slim and
small.
none.
Play the
No.
lotto. If your kid competes against, play the lotto.
Play-
'Cause
immediately.
You ain't,
Go
that
get a
shit is
ticket.
1 in 1 million, man.
Yeah,
You
like
ain't-
the likelihood of your child having to compete against a transgender athlete is slim and none.
Yep.
And most of y'all children don't even play sports.
True. Most kids
Right.
don't even play sports. Not organized sports.
Right.
They play
And
sports
it
like
feels like another one of those things, though, that's kind of like blown out of proportion,
It
right?
is.
Because like you said, the number of transgender people in America is like this tiny little fraction
Non-existent.
of a percentage. But for a while there, it was all any news outlet would talk about
Right.
because it was a story that
Politicized.
we all need to be up in arms about.
Right.
Oh, this poor girl
Yep.
lost a swimming match to this boy.
Yep.
Right.
Is what the headline says, right?
Right.
Or perhaps it's what Pub is saying right now, that maybe it's the fault of politics and how it's taken over so much
100%.
of people's minds.
Yeah, why
and-
would you pick?
100%.
Why would you
100%.
pick the smallest percentage of the population
To pick on.
to pick on? The
Yeah.
people that make up the least, you know what I'm saying, percentage of our population,
And the people who are
and target them.
the most, they're already the most targeted too.
Correct.
They're already
The
the most
most
targeted.
vulnerable.
The
Right.
most vulnerable
And, like,
people.
And they're the least likely to for you to come into contact with.
yeah.
Or
absolutely.
harm you.
I mean, it's
Or,
Yeah.
or harm you
it's
more than
low-hanging
anything.
fruit. It's
They're
low-hanging
more
fruit.
like they're
Yeah.
3 times or probably more than 10 times more likely to be harmed by somebody else
Than
than they
harming
are to harm
somebody else,
somebody.
yeah.
Or they're more likely to harm themselves than to harm you.
That part.
Yeah, that too.
You know what I
That
mean?
part.
So I
because
know-
of lack of access to
Yeah.
care.
Or just feeling different than everybody else.
Right.
Whatever the case may be. And I'm trying to come from a place of compassion and learning too. I mean, I
Yeah,
feel like I
yeah.
already learned something here just being in this conversation, which I'm glad I brought it up.
Right.
Because as soon as it left my mouth, I was like, wait a second, come back. Because
No,
like,
no,
I,
no,
but-
no.
but
No,
when
it's
you speak-
understand.
No,
It's necessary. You know what I'm saying to speak.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying. Your truth.
But
you know?
that's a good
That's the only
example.
way we unpack it.
This is a good example of those speaking on something that you don't know much about, and thankfully, I have enough. I don't have enough ego or pride to be
Grace,
like, I know
yeah.
what I'm like. Yo, I'm gonna say this, but I actually don't have any stats
Yeah.
to back
I
it up.
feel
I don't,
like this about
I
it.
feel it, but I
Yeah,
don't know
right.
why. Could you help me?
Yeah.
And I'll leave this conversation being like,
Okay,
oh, I think
that
I
makes
understand a
sense,
little bit.
yeah.
I'm gonna go home and read up on
But you
that.
know what?
Right.
This is the perfect example and the perfect situation. And you know what? I'll join you in that because a lot of my feelings about it were based on stories that I had read or heard about people transitioning or athletes transitioning later in life who then went on to compete. And I'm thinking to myself, well, years and years of testosterone running through your veins, and then you transition post puberty, right? After in your 20s, and then suddenly, but I'm still an athlete, I'm still a runner, I'm still a whatever. And then it's like, well, hold on a second. You've got
You think you have an
10
advantage.
years, you got 10 years or 12 years of testosterone running through your body and developing muscle, and then you transition. How much density could you have lost? How much whatever? Anyway,
lot.
you read all of this, right?
Yeah.
But then I'm learning something too, so I'm joining you in that. And then the perfect storm of knowledge hits you, and then this is the perfect thing for people to listen to, that your feelings are not facts.
Yeah.
And that's what you learn at
That's
the
a
end
real
of a
thing.
conversation
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
this.
The
right?
facts over feeling shit is a real. I know it's cheesy to say at this point in time because
Right.
people hijack the saying.
Right.
But it really is though, because I'm telling you,
really
I
is.
felt the same way. That's why when you said, "Oh, I shouldn't have said," I was like, "No, I felt the same
No.
way." You would have asked me about it a year ago, I'd have said the same shit. I'd have been like, "I don't know, but I feel like this about it." But I'm telling you, the only thing that triggered it in me was that thought. It was just that one thought of like, wait, but the other way around, I never hear them
complain about it.
I've never heard them complain about that.
You know
It's
what's
so
crazy?
weird.
So like, I never had any thoughts on trans people at all.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Never. I have a trans sibling.
yeah, me too.
Yeah. And so years ago, like probably about a decade ago, they told me their pronouns. And I'm like, what are you talking about? What's a pronoun?
Yeah.
Like, not what's a
I know what you
pronoun,
mean, yeah.
obviously.
Why are you changing it? Like,
Yeah, no, but no. Like, I never heard anybody say
Do
my
they identify
pronouns
them?
are.
Do they identify as the them they?
They, them.
They them. Sorry. yeah.
I've never heard anybody say my pronouns are. I'm like,
Yeah.
what
yeah.
are you talking about?
Mean. Yeah.
Yeah. And so they started explaining it to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I asked their mom, I'm like, are they for real?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and their mom was like, yeah, that's the thing.
They're on that.
So then 10 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
I started looking into all of this
Mm-hmm.
and never stopped. And then I remember we were having the conversation yesterday about like the whole non-binary aspect and things of that nature. When you were asking like, how do you define masculinity or how you define your gender and things like that nature. And I was like, shit, maybe they know something that I don't. Maybe they're up to something. Maybe they're on to something. Like maybe we've attached ourselves to these ideas that aren't truly us because society told us that we had to.
Imagine it. Imagine, which, not to get, I guess, but everything is tied into politics. I can't even.
Right.
Yeah. But so that's why.
Or religion.
But that's why when I talk about like communism, in communism, there is no gender. Like gender
Right.
can't exist. Race can't exist.
Right.
That's why that's why I advocate for it so
Absolutely.
much. Because I want to get rid of all of it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like you just knock it all out in one fell swoop. But if gender didn't exist, then like imagine a society where you get to just be with who you want to be with.
Right.
You get to be who you want to be, and nobody gives a fuck. Like, I know that's crazy to think about,
you
but
know
that's
and I'm glad you said that. You know what's wild? And I think we'll put a pin in it here. But you know what's wild, right? It's like life is easy as fuck. But we as men make it
we
hard.
make it hard. Yeah, we make it extremely
we
hard.
make everything restrictive.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? We create barriers unnecessarily.
Take rights. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like decide who can do what, when, why, and how.
Arbitrarily.
Arbitrarily.
Just cause.
Based off our
cause.
own fucking feelings.
Off feelings. Exactly.
Off
It's just
feelings.
how I feel.
Is
I
how
don't
I
like
feel?
the way it makes me
Selfishness.
feel to see you kiss him.
Fear.
So I don't want to.
Yeah.
Selfishness, scarcity mindset,
Right.
like things of that nature. Like that's where all of this stuff, if you look at it, it's traced back to that. It's all about controlling resources.
Right.
Right. A huge resources are people.
Yeah.
Right. But also literal resources.
Right.
So if you can exclude as many people as possible from having access to said resources, and you hoard the resources, then that gives your lineage a greater chance of survival.
And how do you execute this? By taking the Bible and using people called missionaries to go all over the world and convince the people that your God, you know what I'm saying, will be mad at them if they don't follow him. And while the missionaries are busy distracting the people with the foreigner's God,
stealing the land.
they're stealing the land.
They're still in the natural resources. Cold game like cocaine, baby.
Yep.
Wow.
That's a wrap.
Oh, it's 6.
Damn.
How many questions did we get through? 8.
9.
9.
Nine.
That's
Look at
like
that, man.
that.
Almost halfway.
I
See?
like that.
That's crazy.
We finished. We